Follow Sarutobi on missions, and after disbanding, go home and do experiments. Everything outside seems to have nothing to do with him. There is no way this scientific research project is so attractive. Outside, the first ninja war is still going on. But war has nothing to do with genin. Therefore, Orochimaru has no sense of urgency. Of course, the main reason is because this war has come to an end. Konoha has enough combatants and there is no need for them to go to the battlefield. Otherwise, even if they are genin, they will be forced to take the Choyunin exam. Once you become a Choyunin, you will be immediately dragged to the battlefield. Now Orochimaru is deaf to what is happening outside the window. In addition to the necessary training courses and tasks every day, I just focus on research. Scientific research takes time. The days pass by day, and 2 years are here in a blink of an eye. The end of Konoha 18. This year, Orochimaru is 8 years old. Looking at his home filled with various animal and plant specimens, Orochimaru nodded with satisfaction. At this time, apart from the necessary medium-sized experimental equipment, his home was filled with bottles, jars and other containers. The containers are all filled with various snakes, insects, rats, ants, birds and animals soaked in potion. In 2 years, with the help of the system, he has become a true genetic expert. Gene enhancement solution, gene repair solution, gene extraction, gene fusion. All kinds of genetic knowledge are already far ahead of the world. Weapon technology has also been unlocked early. However, the research and development of weapons technology requires a lot of larger equipment and minerals. With his small house, there is no way he can do it. Therefore, he has been studying genes for the past 2 years. Speaking of genetics, I have to mention it. He originally thought that as long as the genes of ants were applied to the human body, humans would have hundreds of times the power of ants. But obviously, this is just human fantasy. The reason why ants are so powerful is because their body structure is composed of bones wrapping muscles. It is this body structure that causes the ants' disproportionate strength. It has nothing to do with genes. It is the influence of body structure. The human body structure is fundamentally different. It doesn't work. Of course, the most important thing is that the gene fusion method provided by the system is to extract the energy in the genes, cultivate them, and then fuse them. Like the genes of ants, the energy contained in them is too weak to be cultivated at all. The effect of genetic enhancement liquid is only obvious after the first use. Even if the enhancement liquid is upgraded to a higher level, the effect will not be particularly significant after drinking it. Judging from this situation, even if the strengthening liquid is upgraded to a high level, the strengthened physique cannot be compared with the cells of the Thousand Hands clan. Looking at the various genetic drugs created by himself in the system warehouse, Orochimaru frowned. It seems that it's time to make a deal with Konoha. During this time, Orochimaru was mostly studying the gene fusion fluid. It's just that this research has reached a bottleneck due to insufficient blood samples. Therefore, after he spent a year and a half developing the first gene fusion fluid, he chose to unlock the subsequent technologies first and look for inspiration. Behind the gene repair fluid is the intermediate gene enhancement fluid. These two things are relatively simple and are an extended version of the previous research project, so the completion time of the two technologies combined is only 4 or 5 months. And Orochimaru believes that after the first experience, the next time he makes it, it will only take 3 or 2 days. I have to say that scientific research is difficult. But as long as you have reached that threshold and your talent is high enough, it will be easy to achieve results with a little effort. Orochimaru is in such a situation now. Otherwise, even with the help of the system, he would not be able to complete so many scientific research projects in more than 2 years. Orochimaru, Orochimaru! A rapid knock on the door suddenly sounded. Orochimaru frowned and came to the door. Jiraiya, why are you yelling? I challenge you, challenge! Go, 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 come to the training ground with me. Jiraiya pointed in the direction of the training ground with his thumb, and after saying that, he couldn't wait to pull Orochimaru away. Challenge? Orochimaru pulled his hand out of Jiraiya's hand without leaving a trace. No. In the past 2 years, under Sarutobi's arrangement, he has fought Jiraiya countless times. Jiraiya has never been able to fight back every time. Therefore, when they are not gathering together, he never fights with this person. Damn it! After all, if you abuse food too much, it will be boring. Hey, I learned a new move this time, I can definitely beat you. Jiraiya said this with a lewd smile on his face. Hey, as long as I defeat you, Tsunade can be my girlfriend. Just thinking about it makes me a little excited. Stop dreaming, even if you win, Tsunade won't like you. Orochimaru poured cold water on him in time. You know, Orochimaru said this not just from memory. But after getting along for such a long time, he knew Tsunade's criteria for choosing a mate. One is strength, the other is good looks. This is the most important condition and the only one. After all, she is the princess of the Senju clan. She has good strength and looks pretty good. It is normal to have requirements on these 2 points. Jiraiya, strength it's okay, but this looks. It's really a flaw. Orochimaru's words hit Jiraiya. But Jiraiya is thick-skinned. Of course he won't be knocked down by Orochimaru's few words. How do you know it's impossible if you don't try? I believe that as long as I persist, I will be able to impress her one day. Okay, do you want to fight or not? Jiraiya changed the subject. Not interested in. Orochimaru refused decisively and unkindly. His time is precious, but he has no interest in playing tricks with Jiraiya. At this time, Jiraiya was a little depressed. He finally practiced 1 or 2 tricks, but the result was that this guy doesn't want to fight. It feels like a punch to cotton, making people vomit blood. You. However, he was about to say something, but suddenly he discovered something new. Hey, Orochimaru, what's going on at your house? Sharp, really awesome, what are these? This is not the first time he has come to Orochimaru's home, but he usually doesn't go in. In addition, Orochimaru deliberately concealed it, so he couldn't see what was going on inside. But this time, he saw the experimental equipment in the room. Of course, the scientific research equipment provided by the system had been put away by Orochimaru, so all he saw was some experimental equipment that could be purchased in Konoha village. But this was enough to shock Jiraiya. Because he is only 8 years old now. I am so curious about all new things. The various transparent bottles and jars are so dazzling to see. These, are they all yours? Certainly. What are you doing with these? Improve your strength. Improve strength? Jiraiya was stunned for a moment, then said in a funny tone, what nonsense are you talking about, guy? To improve your strength, shouldn't you practice day and night? What's the use of doing this? With your wisdom, I can't explain it to you. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, you guys, huh? What's this? Tsunade also suddenly jumped down from the roof of Orochimaru's house. When she saw that the door was open, she walked in directly. But when she saw the scene in front of her, she had the same reaction as Jiraiya. Because she didn't know either. Orochimaru is actually doing research? He glanced at the bottles and jars next to him, and then looked at a few genetics books next to the table. Tsunade was really surprised, picked up a book and flipped through 2 pages. It's really amazing. Can you understand these things? I couldn't understand it before, but now I can. Orochimaru said calmly. When he first started the experiment, he was really a little confused. He has been researching just one primary gene enhancement solution for half a year. Now, it is estimated that given him a few days, he can make several. Before? Tsunade grasped the key point of the words. You mean, you started studying these things a long time ago? Orochimaru nodded slightly. After more than 2 years of training, his strength has reached a point where he can protect himself in any situation. Therefore, he doesn't mind letting the 2 of them see his laboratory. Besides, In Konoha village, there are already talents responsible for researching this field, so this is not too unusual. Of course, there are still differences. After all, Orochimaru's scientific research projects are given by the system, which is better than Konoha village's much more advanced. After hearing Orochimaru's decisive admission, Tsunade immediately remembered it. 2.5 years ago, Orochimaru, who had just graduated, borrowed money from her once. Just because Orochimaru paid back the money quickly. So she didn't care at the time. Now think about it, did he borrow the money to do this? Oh my god, this is too exaggerated, right? Orochimaru was only 6 years old at that time. A 6-year-old child can study these things? Why? Is it because of his dead parents? I have to say that Tsunade has a great mind and actually quickly helped Orochimaru think of a reason. As expected of you, you are so awesome. Hey, why are we so powerful? We are ninjas, and our own strength is the most important. What is the use of studying these? Jiraiya curled his lips. At this time, he had completely forgotten that he had been exaggerating the power of Orochimaru just now. But for some reason, he couldn't get angry when he saw Tsunade worshipping Orochimaru. Hit me somewhere. Tsunade immediately retorted, no matter how useless I am, I'm still better than you, an idiot. Yes, I am an idiot, but no matter how idiot I am still better than you, a washboard. Jiraiya smiled wickedly. The three of them have been together for so long, and he has become a little skinny in the face of Tsunade's ridicule. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Tsunade was furious again. What did you say? Jiraiya, you are looking for death. I'm looking for death, come and beat me. You. Hey, you two, stop making trouble here. Seeing that the two of them were about to start fighting, Orochimaru stopped him with words in time. Although these two guys were only 8 years old, the fight was still earth-shattering. If they break some experimental specimens or something, it's nothing. But if they break their own, if the experimental notes are destroyed, then it's a bit confusing. Did you hear that? Orochimaru asked you not to cause trouble here. Jiraiya smiled proudly. Tsunade hesitated to speak. Orochimaru interrupted Tsunade again. Okay, Tsunade, I have something to go to see Mr. Sarutobi. Do you want to come together? Certainly. You came at the right time. In view of your good performance before, I decided to take you to the battlefield to sharpen your skills. As soon as he saw Sarutobi downstairs in the Hokage building, Sarutobi said this. Go back and prepare, we will set off in an hour. Well, after hearing this, Orochimaru immediately knew that his plan would be delayed. The first ninja war was called a war, but it was actually two villages fighting each other. Konoha vs Kumigakuer, Kirigakuer vs Iwagakuer. It can be said to be extremely monotonous. To be honest, Orochimaru didn't know, how could these village ninjas fight for so many years with only a few thousand people on one side? Is it true that a gentleman speaks but does not act? Of course, Orochimaru didn't delve into this issue. He originally planned to use a weakened version of the gene-enhancing fluid he recently developed in exchange for Konoha's support in scientific research. By the way, you can also come into contact with the remains of the first Hokage. But now a mission suddenly comes, so we can only postpone the time. An hour later, Orochimaru and the three men, fully armed, approached the entrance of Konoha village. Forward protector, ninja uniform, ninja tool bag, scroll, leggings, and ninja shoes are all ready. This is not the first time Orochimaru has done a mission, but he used to do some D-level missions in the village. Such as picking up garbage, weeding, catching cats, delivering letters and so on. Even if there are occasional missions out of the village, they are to deal with some ordinary bandits not far around Yai village. I have never encountered even a stronger wandering ninja. How weak are ordinary bandits? Just look at the warriors standing behind Cardo when fighting Zabuza in the original work and you will know. Naruto's shadow clone can easily do 2 in seconds. Kakashi's multiple shadow clones can scare them all into the water. Facing an opponent of this level, they couldn't even be interested. But this time, when Orochimaru and the others arrived at the entrance of Konoha village, Sarutobi Hiruzen had been waiting for a long time. At this time, he was also fully armed, wearing black armor, looking heroic. When he saw Orochimaru and the three people arriving, he couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. The three of them are all his proud disciples. Especially Orochimaru, his talent is surprisingly high. This makes him, as a teacher, very happy. Let's go. There was no passionate speech, no inspiring words, just these 4 simple words. Along the way, Sarutobi Hiruzen also told the 3 people about the mission content. According to what Sarutobi said, the 2 Dai Hokage has already returned to the front line with his men, and the Cloud Ninjas of the Land of Thunder have now decided to retreat. In other words, the front-line battlefield is no longer so dangerous. And Orochimaru and the others are the future of Konoha village. Sarutobi has the responsibility to show the future of Konoha the cruelty of the battlefield. So, here they are. The ninjas have a unique way of walking, spinning and jumping on the trees. A group of 4 people maintain their formation and move quickly to the front. On both sides the scenery is also constantly moving backwards. Hehe, it's finally time to go to the battlefield. The 3 of us should be the youngest ones on the battlefield, right? Jiraiya looks a little excited. After all, they are only less than 9 years old now. It is indeed a bit early to go to the battlefield before the age of 9 during the First World War. But Orochimaru, who knows the future, knows that at this age it's already very late. In the original work, Uchiha Itachi was taken to the battlefield by his father at the age of 4. Kakashi also graduated at the age of 5, and became a Choyunin at the age of 6 and went to the battlefield. Compared to the ages of these 2 geniuses, they simply don't want it to be too late. That is to say, Konoha now has the 2nd generation Hokage, and there are enough combat personnel. Otherwise, with their talents, they will definitely be arranged to take the Chunin exam soon after graduating at the age of 6. The battlefield is cruel. The closer you get to the front line, the more you can see the traces of fierce fighting. Fire Nation, Northeastern Defense Line. You can see broken rocks and swaying trees everywhere. Kunao, shurikens, and broken ninja swords were scattered on the ground. There is no doubt that a sizable battle took place here. If you look carefully, you can see that there are even a few corpses that haven't been taken away yet. This is war. There were countless casualties, corpses littered the fields, and one person lost his life without paying attention. Seeing so many corpses, Jiraiya and Tsunade were obviously still a little uncomfortable. Only Orochimaru looks unusually calm. Maybe it's because he is an adult to begin with, or maybe he is already mentally prepared. In short, his current performance is much better than Jiraiya and Tsunade. It's still at most half a day's journey to the front line, so be careful. After checking the condition of the corpse, Hiruzen Sarutobi promptly reminded him. The 3 of them nodded. Just as they were about to say something, suddenly, whoosh whoosh, 6 figures appeared next to the 4 people and surrounded them. Jiraiya and Tsunade were startled and quickly made defensive moves. Orochimaru also squinted his eyes, and while alert, he looked at the forehead protector on the other person's forehead. One of your own. On the battlefield, the forehead protector is the initial criterion for judging friends and foes. Once you wear the forehead protector of your own village, even if the enemy transforms him into a shapeshifter, he will never attack him immediately. Is it Lord Hiruzen? Among the 6 people who came, the leader wearing sunglasses suddenly spoke. Oh? It turns out to be Aberme Takia. Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen call out his name, Aberme Takia breathed a sigh of relief and gestured to several others at the same time. Identity confirmed, alert lifted. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru couldn't help but have a deeper understanding of the battlefield. The battlefield is much more rigorous than he imagined. The biggest function of a forehead protector is actually not to protect the forehead. It is used to distinguish the ninja's camp on the battlefield. After all, even among the ninjas in the same village, there are many ninjas who don't know each other. What's more, during a battle, there isn't that much time for you to look at faces. Normally, two teams of ninjas meet in the wild. After confirming their camps, they also have to confirm passwords, etc. At this time, Aberme Takia heard Sarutobi Hiruzen calling his name, and naturally knew that this could not be the enemy's disguise. Because he can only be regarded as an ordinary member of the Aberme clan. Except for his own people, it is impossible for the enemy to know his name. After the two parties confirmed their identities, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Aberme Takia exchanged information, and then continued to rush towards the front line with Orochimaru and the others. Battlefield, it's really scary. Jiraiya couldn't help but swallow while he was running. At this time, the scene of the messy battlefield still remained in his mind. Such a tragic scene, for anyone who went to the battlefield for the first time, all have a strong visual impact. Not to mention the current Jiraiya, who is still just a child. An 8-year-old child's mental endurance is naturally limited. If it is the first time to go to the battlefield, let alone him, even many adult ninjas, will be scared to death. After hearing Jiraiya's words, Tsunade also echoed yes, although I have heard a lot before, I still feel a little uncomfortable seeing it with my own eyes. War is like this, just get used to it. Sarutobi Hiruzen comforted him. He has seen too many such scenes. After seeing too many, he will naturally become numb. After speaking, he glanced at Orochimaru subconsciously. There is nothing special about this kid before and after. Expression? Sure enough, are you born to be a ninja? Konoha border. Military base. Oh? Monkey, are you here? Looking at the 4 Sarutobi who landed on the ground, the second Hokage in blue armor said with a serious expression. At this time, he was arranging his equipment. Next to him, stood several other Konoha backbone warriors. Power. One is the slightly fat Akimichi Tofu, and the other is Uchiha Kage with the clan emblem on his shoulder. The other one is Danzo with a scar on his chin. This is not the first time Orochimaru has met these people, but he had never had the opportunity to get in close contact like today. When he took a closer look today, he immediately felt how powerful these people were. The other people were fine, but the second Hokage. Orochimaru could clearly feel the aura on his body even if he didn't release it deliberately. Hearing the words of the second Hokage, Sarutobi nodded. Teacher, that, I bring them to the battlefield. Sarutobi, what are you doing here with 3 children? Where do you think this is? Before the second Hokage spoke, Danzo next to him couldn't help but start talking. He and Sarutobi are teammates, but they are also sworn enemies and competitors. They love each other and kill each other. Even if there is only a little chance, he will catch him, and then argue with Sarutobi. Of course, the second Hokage will generally not stop this situation. Because he believes in the saying that competition leads to progress. As for why Danzo is so opposed to this? Again, if a ninja can go to the battlefield at the age of 6 or 7, it is because he is forced to do so. If it is really possible, they will never allow children of this age to go to the battlefield. And this is the situation now. Oh? Haha, it doesn't matter Danzo, they are all very capable. Nothing will go wrong for sure. Sarutobi said with a hearty smile. Sarutobi is very young now, and his smile is very hearty. He feels like the adult version of Naruto and Naoki. No problem? You will regret it when something goes wrong. Okay, stop arguing, since everything is already here, let's let it be. The second Hokage subconsciously glanced at Orochimaru. Monkey, I will lead people to fight their main force now. You just lead a team of Umbu to clean up the enemy's remnants. Yes. Umbu was a department created after the second Hokage came to power. Its full name is Assassination Tactics Special Forces. Similar to a special military department, the members of Umbu are all outstanding ninjas selected from the village. They are mainly responsible for protecting cage and preventing enemies from invading the ninja village. Sometimes they are also responsible for reconnaissance and assassination tasks. The nature of the tasks is usually extremely harsh or boring, such as guarding important suspects. Due to the special nature of the mission, its members all wear white masks that imitate animals when operating. The nature of the mission and all other information are kept confidential. The Umbu is directly under the shadow, and all orders are issued by the shadow. There are multiple teams of 4 or 5 people under the army, and the team leader uniformly conveys orders and leads the execution of tasks. At this time, Sarutobi temporarily gained control of the Umbu of a 5-man team. 5 people, all wearing animal masks and dressed according to their figure, 4 men and 1 woman. Including Sarutobi and Orochimaru, there are 9 people in total. Their goal is to snipe those Kumo ninjas who are also in teams. Hiruzen-sama, is it really okay to raise these few children? Hiruzen-sama, is it really okay to raise these few children? While walking through the jungle, one of the Umbu glanced at Orochimaru and the others and couldn't help but ask. They are affiliated with the Hokage and are responsible for different things. Therefore, they only know Tsunade and do not know Orochimaru and Orochimaru. Jiraiya. On the battlefield, being young is not a problem. What matters is whether you are strong enough. Will you become a burden to them in battle? Forget about Tsunade. After all, she is a member of the Senjo clan, and she is also a direct relative of the first and second generation Hokage. No matter how weak their strength is, they can't be much worse. But Jiraiya and Orochimaru are clearly civilian ninjas. How much fighting power can the children of civilian ninjas have? Eagle, don't underestimate them. Sarutobi Hiruzen understood what the Umbu captain meant, and smiled lightly. If we really fight, I'm afraid you may not be their opponents. Umbu all have their own code names. And the code name of this Umbu captain is Ying. Hearing Sarutobi's words, Ying was immediately dissatisfied. Although they are your disciples, your words are a bit too much. Yes, just a few brats. I think so. I'd be lucky if I didn't hold back. That's it, that's it. Several Umbu denied Sarutobi's words with every word. The meaning of the words was obviously to look down on Jiraiya and Orochimaru. But think about it, let alone Jiraiya and Orochimaru, 2 civilians. A ninja, even a child of the Senjo clan and the Uchiha clan. What can he do at the age of 8? How can he be the opponent of their Umbu? In response to the rebuttals of several people, Sarutobi smiled slightly. Eagle, Fox, you guys, after being a ninja for so many years, don't you know that there are geniuses in this world? Genius? You mean them? Although I don't deny that there are geniuses in this world, no matter how talented they are, their abilities are limited, right? Is not that right? Hey, I'm talking to the uncles from Umbu, can you please stop looking down on others? That is, our strength is very strong. Tsunade and Jiraiya couldn't help but retort. The 3 ninjas are inherently talented. Even if they are young, they are beyond the reach of ordinary ninjas. Although they have not yet taken the Chuunin exams, their strength is early. It has surpassed many Chuunin. You must know that Chuunin are the largest group of ninjas in every ninja village. Even in Umbu, there are many outstanding Chuunin. Therefore, what Sarutobi said is also there is no problem. The current Sunin do not lack strength, what they lack is battlefield experience. Haha, the little devils are quite confident. Is not that right? I just don't know if I'll be so scared that I'll pee my pants when I encounter an enemy later, ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Alas, you. Everyone, stop for a moment, there are enemies ahead. Tsunade also wanted to refute the words of several Umbu, but was interrupted by a sudden voice. Everyone looked around and saw that the owner of the voice was none other than Orochimaru, who had been silent. Hearing Orochimaru, not only those Umbu, even Sarutobi was surprised. He quickly made a stop gesture. Orochimaru, what's going on? There are enemies ahead. Orochimaru repeated it again. Just hearing Orochimaru's words, one of the female Umbu was a little confused. Is there an enemy? Kid, don't talk nonsense, even I, a perceptive ninja, can. Hi, wait, an enemy is really coming, everyone be on alert. Whoosh whoosh. A group of 9 people turned into afterimages and quickly looked for cover in the jungle. But at this moment, everyone in hiding looked at Orochimaru with a different look. Sarutobi, Tsunade, and Jiraiya were okay a little bit, because they knew that Orochimaru had a certain sense of perception. But the other Umbu didn't know. So, at this time, they were filled with admiration when they saw Orochimaru hiding behind a huge rock. Is this kid also a sentient type? How amazing! The female ninja who is responsible for perception in the team, codenamed Nightingale, is even more incredible. She is the ninja responsible for perception in the team. Although her perception ability is not the strongest, she can be selected and sent to the Umbu. Naturally, he is outstanding in this aspect. But just now, this long-haired boy actually sensed the enemy before himself? Doesn't that mean that his perception ability is stronger than his own? At this time, Orochimaru didn't know that he was surprised again. Because this time, he did not rely on his own ability, but on technology. When he entered the range where he might encounter enemies, he released his 6 invisible flies to explore the way ahead. Because you may encounter enemies at any time in a war-torn area, so you should be vigilant. In this case, the speed at which everyone rushes cannot be as fast as the invisible fly. After all, everyone has to be alert at all times to see if there are any enemy ambush around them. So, in this place covered by woods, Orochimaru was able to find the enemy faster than the Nightingale. Swish! Before anyone had time to think too much, 3 figures ran out from the trees in front. On their forehead protectors, there were impressive engraved marks. Marked by clouds. Konoha border, Kumo Ninja Village defense line. In the jungle, dozens of vigorous figures are running quickly. Among the dozen or so of them, both men and women had dark skin and carried a very sophisticated ninja sword on their backs. Judging from their attire, they are definitely the elite among the ninjas of Kumo Ninja Village. Damn it, I don't Euro trademark know what our Rakage is thinking, but we actually want to compromise with Konoha. One of the men suddenly said. Listening to his tone, he seemed to be a little dissatisfied with Rakage. That is, this battle has been going on for so long, and the hatred between the two sides cannot be erased by an agreement. I also agree with you, the ninjas of Konoha deserve to die. Several people in the team also agreed. Okay. Although I know that some of your relatives died at the hands of Konoha ninjas, he is the Rakage after all, and we must listen to his orders. That's true, but no matter what, we have to have a carnival before retreating. Yes, I want to kill myself before I leave. It's best to meet. Wait a moment. A dark-skinned man leading the team quickly stopped on the tree trunk, and at the same time signaled to the people behind him. The others stopped decisively. What's wrong? Captain Shai. The man named Shai smiled evilly. There seems to be a mouse in front. Oh? The other person also smiled. It's a bit unexpected. Woo, feel it? Yes. One of the thin men nodded. After speaking, he squatted down and pointed 2 fingers on the ground. How many people can you sense? 9 people. The thin man said with great certainty. It's obvious that he is also a perception-based ninja. When ninjas fight in the forest, due to vision problems, they usually compete with perception first. After determining the number of enemies and even detailed information, they then decide on the battle plan. At this time, this is what these Kumo ninjas do. And they think they have better perception than the other party. Only 9 people? Shai glanced at the people behind him and grinned. Hey, there are 12 of us, and we have the numerical advantage now. I will take 2 of them to lure the enemy in front, and the others will see the opportunity to snipe them. Learn. Whizzing. Ding ding. Seeing the 3 Kumo ninjas appearing, Konoha took the lead in launching an attack. Several shurikens were thrown directly. The 3 cloud ninjas who lured the enemy were naturally well prepared and easily fended them off. "You bastards of Konoha, come out and die! Ha ha ha, do you still want to ambush us?" After blocking the shuriken, the Kumo ninja screamed crazily. While avoiding the attack flexibly, he threw the hidden weapon. Boom! Kunao appeared with the detonating talisman in the hiding place of everyone in Konoha. The sound sounded. Sarutobi Hiruzen at this time, he also had a solemn look on his face. "The enemy's sensing ninjas are also very strong, there is nothing we can do, Ying, hold them back." "Yes." The Umbu named Eagle replied, quickly forming seals with his hands. Earth. Release. Rock attack. As he pressed his hands on the ground, countless rocks shot forward like bullets. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at it for 3 times. The person glanced. "Orochimaru, Tsunade, Jiraiya, just show your normal state, be careful. Everyone else, come with me to meet the enemy." "Yes." As soon as he finished speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen took the lead and rushed out with an afterimage. Mirai Shinobi's combat power is naturally not outstanding. The moment he entered the field, he had already found his opponent. Soldiers will fight against soldiers, and they will fight against generals. The Jonin naturally had to deal with the Jonin. So, a battle began. Each of them seemed to have found his opponent. Sarutobi was much stronger than ordinary ninjas, but the number of enemies was so large that he was instantly divided into 3 people were holding him back, and he couldn't escape even in a short time. Seeing the chaos on the battlefield, Jiraiya couldn't help but swallowed his saliva, and was about to say something, when suddenly his whole body was lifted up by Orochimaru. "Don't be in a daze." Orochimaru's cold voice reached his ears. He just felt that the scenes around him were moving forward rapidly. Boom! A huge explosion exploded at the location in front of the 3 of them. So close! Jiraiya patted his chest in fear. He was about to thank Orochimaru. Whoosh whoosh! 3 figures fell in front of the 3 of them. 2 men and 1 woman. Oh, it's actually 3 little ghosts. Ha ha ha, shouldn't such a big kid still be sucking milk? Stop talking nonsense and deal with them quickly. One of the male ninjas quickly reminded. On the battlefield, no matter what age, as long as you are wearing an enemy forehead protector, you are an enemy. Facing the enemy, ninjas will never be merciful. After hearing what his teammates said, the female ninja smiled coldly. "Little devils, since we are on the battlefield, don't blame my sister for being cruel. Go to hell." As she said that, she pulled out her sword and jumped into the air. Yunliu. Mikazuki slash. Whoa! The crescent-like sword light mercilessly slashed towards Orochimaru and the others. Most of the ninjas in the Cloud Ninja Village in the Kingdom of Thunder are good at thunder escape and sword skills. In their understanding, when fighting Konoha ninjas, all they have to do is get close to them, and then a dazzling sword strike will follow. Facing such a powerful sword technique, except for the Uchiha and Hyuga clans who have eye power, few Konoha ninjas can stop it. In fact, it is indeed the case. Compared to melee combat, the overall level of Kumo ninja is much higher than that of Konoha. So now, facing these 3 brats, she has absolute confidence to kill them with a knife in the next second. Pity! Clang! The sound of metal collision sounded. The female ninja's eyes turned sharp. Blocked? This brat, Nanny! Latent shadow snake hand. Whoa! Countless snakes came out of the cuff of Orochimaru's left hand. Jiraiya. Hearing Orokai's cry, Jiraiya finally reacted and quickly put his hands together. Ninja technique, needle hell. Careful! Your opponent is me. Watch the punches and drink. Latent shadow snake hand. Orochimaru's signature skill. Shortly after receiving the psychic technique 2 years ago, Orochimaru had developed this technique. The learning of ninjutsu is much simpler for Orochimaru now than scientific research or something like that. Because of scientific research, a simple project will take at least half a year or even a year or two. Even though he already had experience in making genetic enhancement fluid, it took him 2 months to make the genetic repair fluid. But ninjutsu is different. Because that's all the principles of ninjutsu. Except for those secret techniques and blood inheritance limits. The general principles of ninjutsu are actually very simple. With someone to teach him, with his talent, he could learn it in a day at most. If there is no one to teach me, if I study it myself, it will not take more than 3 days at most. Latent Shadow Snake Hand is a psychic ninjutsu. With the idea of this technique in mind, it only took 3 days to use the principles of necromancy to research this technique. Although this technique does not appear to be very powerful in the original work, and generally cannot kill people, it is quite effective. Countless snakes, each with its own role. Intimidate, contain, capture. And it doesn't require any seals, so it's very convenient. If you weren't a speed ninja, you wouldn't be able to dodge it. At this time, the female Kumonin in the battle was not slow at all, and she did not underestimate the enemy, but she did not expect that Orochimaru would use a kunao to block such a swift slash of hers. She never thought that Orochimaru would have such an attack method. So, he got tricked. The moment she was blocked by Orochimaru's kunao and then bitten by the giant pythons in the hidden shadow snake hands, she knew something was wrong. Pity, she knew it was too late. Whoosh whoosh. Countless white hairs like steel needles emanated from Jiraiya's head and body next to him. The penetrating power of white hair is very strong, and it is as dense as raindrops. With such a close distance, she couldn't escape at all. She wanted to struggle, but Orochimaru's pythons trapped him so tightly that she couldn't move at all for a short time. After all, not everyone has Tsunade and Sakura's strange powers. Her teammates want support. But Tsunade blocked his way with a heavy punch. Boom! The ground is cracked and gravel is flying. Puff puff! Almost at the same time, this female ninja of the Kumo ninja was beaten into a sieve by Jiraiya's needle hell. She even had time to scream. Damn it, these 3 brats! The remaining 2 Kumo ninjas were also angry at this time. I thought that the battle would be easy, but I didn't expect that these 3 brats couldn't take any measures, and one of them was killed in an instant. Bastard, Yuru, what's going on over there? The captain named Shai obviously heard the screams of this man. Taking advantage of the gap in the battle, he shouted loudly and asked. The adult ninjas haven't decided the winner yet. They are responsible for solving those 3 brats. But one of his teammates died first? How the hell can this be reliable? Hearing the captain's words, Illa was furious. These are not ordinary brats, damn, I'm going to kill you. The 2 tightened the ninja swords in their hands and began to look at the 3 brats in front of them. At the same time, Orochimaru glanced at the gap in his kunao, and was surprised at the sharpness of the other's ninja sword. He looked at the side again. Jiraiya, who was still in shock, couldn't help but frown. Jiraiya? What's wrong with you? Did I kill someone? Jiraiya muttered to himself with some fear. He is only 8 years old now. When he did tasks before, he just defeated the enemy. He never really killed anyone. But now, he just subconsciously follows the usual way of cooperation between the 3 of them. Fighting back, actually stabbing the opponent to death? This was definitely a huge shock to his young mind. On the contrary, although Orochimaru had experienced this situation for the first time, there was no feeling like Jiraiya. He even felt that the hatred in his heart seemed to have found an outlet. This kind of unscrupulous killing not only did not make him feel uncomfortable, but made him more excited. What about killing people? If you don't kill him, he will kill you. Haven't you received psychological training? Jiraiya, now is not the time to lament this. Tsunade also echoed. She grew up in the Senju clan of Konoha, and she seemed to have accepted the reality faster than Jiraiya now. Nothing but, coming. Orochimaru shouted coldly, and the 2 Kumo ninjas drew their swords and moved forward again. Their companion was dead, so they naturally had to avenge her. Facing the attack of the two, the three of them quickly retreated. The battle became more and more intense, and other people began to suffer casualties. Earth escape. Earth flow and great river. The ground suddenly softened, causing a Kumo ninja who couldn't react quickly to fall into the quagmire. Cloud flow, Xiaozhan. A konoha Umbu couldn't avoid it and was cut with a long gash in his chest. Shuriken, Kunao, detonating charm. Soon it resounded throughout the battlefield. Hiruzen Sarutobi dealt with one person and quickly dodged the attack of the opponent's Jonin Shai. Looking at the three Orochimaru who were still fighting with Kumo ninja, he immediately shouted. Orochimaru, take advantage of now. Orochimaru reacted instantly. He hooked out a kunao with a detonating talisman and threw it out. Boom! The huge explosion forced the opponent back and at the same time widened the distance between the two sides. Whoosh whoosh! The three of them quickly went back to back. They gathered together, bit their fingers at the same time, and started to form seals with both hands quickly. Hai Su Yu Shenwei. The art of psychic. The art of psychic. The art of psychic. Bang bang bang. Three hands pressed at the same time on the ground, three huge white smoke also rose at the same time. The white smoke quickly dissipated, and three huge psychic beasts appeared in front of everyone. Oh, no! It was four. Because Sarutobi and a monkey demon. This is, psychic beast. Awesome kid. Amazing. The Umbu of Konoha during the battle caught this scene with their peripheral vision, and expressed their admiration for the three brats in their hearts. At this moment, they finally recognized the strength of Orochimaru and the others. After all, the psychic beast, not everyone has it. Moreover, combat psychic beasts can also improve the combat power of ninjas a lot. They understand this very well. Hateful. Looking at the three psychic beasts standing in front of the three of them, the cloud ninjas clenched their ninja swords with horror on their faces. These three brats are too exaggerated, right? Not only is he not weak in strength, but he also has a psychic beast? The other two psychic beasts look fine, one is a slug and the other is a toad, but they don't seem to have much fighting power. But that huge flower python looks really impressive. Tsunade-sama. The slug shouted softly when it came out. Its voice was very sweet and made people feel comfortable. Jiraiya, I'm on vacation, you summon me at this time, alas, have you gone to the battlefield? The two psychic beasts just appeared, and they both made their own voices. Only Orochimaru's flower python spat out a message without saying a word. He only shouted in his mind, Master. I have to say, before Orochimaru defected, the feeling of the three ninjas fighting side by side was really good. Even Orochimaru now can't help but feel a little touched in his heart. For 2 years, under Sarutobi's arrangement, they worked together and trained together. Not only did my relationship improve a lot, but I also learned a lot of combined attack techniques. The latent shadow snake hand combined with the needle hell is. So are the three current psychic beasts. The art of channeling can be used after signing a blood contract. It's just that the psychic beast that is channeled is related to the amount of chakra it has. Tsunade's slugs control their size based on the amount of chakra, Orochimaru's snakes and Jiraiya's toads control their species based on the amount of chakra. The Sunin at this time were only 8 years old and had limited chakra. Therefore, the psychic beast that comes through the channel is naturally not the super large one in the original work. Toads and slugs are probably only a little taller than an adult now. An Orochimaru's snake is naturally not a snake, but a flower snake that is 7 or 8 meters long and thicker than an adult's thigh. Of course, Orochimaru has now taken the intermediate gene enhancement liquid, and with his age, the amount of chakra has more than doubled from 2 years ago. The real strength is naturally much more than this. But in order to cooperate with Tsunade and Jiraiya, he could only channel this snake. He once thought that if he really channeled all the snakes, it would be difficult to deal with it. You know, snakes are very cruel and cold-blooded creatures, and Wanshi is one of the few snakes in Longdi Cave that has intelligence. Intelligent snakes not only retain the nature of cold-blooded actions, but also have their own thinking ability. They are cruel and arrogant, and will not even buy the face of their masters. If he really channeled one snake, he might have to fight it to tame it. Orochimaru doesn't have that spare time now, nor does he have the need to summon it. The topic got a little sidetracked, and the camera returned to the woods. The Kumo ninja originally had a numerical advantage, but they obviously underestimated Sarutobi, and even more so Orochimaru and the others. Sarutobi solved one, and Orochimaru and the other three also solved one by surprise. In the end, in terms of number of people, they only had one more person. At this time, as soon as the four psychic beasts appeared, the numerical advantage of the Kumo ninjas was suddenly gone. Especially the monkey demon of Sarutobi Hiruzen, it is simply their nightmare. Its sharp claws can even grab their ninja swords directly. Ding ding! Bang bang! Tsunade, get out of the way! Learn! Tsunade tapped her toes and quickly exited the battle circle. Jiraiya and Orochimaru had formed seals, and they were aiming at the Kumo ninja who was dragged down by three psychic beasts. Fire escape! Fire bullet! Wind escape! Great breakthrough! Fire escape! Use the wind to help the fire. The fire was like wildfire, sweeping towards the cloud ninja in front. Soon, screams came from the fire. Ninjutsu, kunao, shuriken, detonating charms, psychic beasts. Let the entire battlefield be filled with smoke. The unequal strength of the ninjas themselves brought this encounter to an end quickly. White ape, damn it, you are Hiruzen Sarutobi. After looking at the three psychic beasts and then seeing the white ape in front of him, Jounin Shai also recognized Sarutobi's identity. Because in the previous battlefield, the image of Sarutobi Hiruzen was deeply engraved in the hearts of their Kumo ninjas. Especially this white ape. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the two people opposite him and asked, instead of answering, the war should have ended long ago, why are you still so stubborn? Finish? Ha ha ha, so naive, die. Shai clenched the knife in his hand and rushed forward again. He knew that he was no match for Sarutobi Hiruzen. But, escape? He looked at the dead teammates around him. Because of the existence of Sarutobi Hiruzen and the junior Sunin, he made miscalculations, which ultimately led to the total destruction of his team. Therefore, he has no shame in going back. Anyway, I no longer have any relatives, so instead of fighting like this endlessly, I might as well just die. He has this awareness. Ninjas should die on the battlefield. Whoa! The kunao in Sarutobi's hand stabbed into his heart from the back with a cold light. Bang 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 bang! As the last Kumonin fell to the ground, the four psychic beasts turned into white smoke and disappeared on the battlefield. The woods returned to silence again, but the ground became a mess, no different from the scene I saw before coming here. Umbu of Konoha, take stock of the battlefield quickly. You guys did a great job. A man walked up to the three of them and said with admiration. How old are you? It's the first time you go to the battlefield to show such combat effectiveness and cooperation? This is simply incredible. Where, no way. In the face of Umbu's praise, Tsunade and Orochimaru were fine. But Jiraiya was extremely embarrassed. Because he was the most panicked person just now. If it hadn't been for Orochimaru, he would have been seriously injured. But it's okay, after all, he is the future Sunin, he did not lose his temper in the subsequent battle. Orochimaru ignored everyone's talk, but looked at the enemies who had lost their fighting power but were not dead. At this moment, there was an inexplicable feeling in his heart. Pleasure. He drew out a kunao and walked towards them slowly. Hey, Orochimaru, what are you doing? Jiraiya was stunned. Snort. With a muffled sound, the non-combatant cloud ninja was wiped on the neck by Orochimaru. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya was stunned. Tsunade also showed a trace of unbearableness on his face. This guy. Although they are enemies, they no longer have any fighting power, so why should they be killed? Sarutobi also saw this scene at this time. But he was just a little surprised. Only the Umbu named Eagle had a strange look on his face behind the mask. This guy is very suitable for Umbu. Shaking his head and no longer thinking, he also took one of his uninjured subordinates and wiped the necks of all the fallen enemies. Killing people and silencing them is the job of Umbu. Naturally, Hiruzen Sarutobi did not stop this. Although Sarutobi seemed a little soft-hearted in the original work, that was only for Danzo, and it was because he was old and didn't want to lose his former companion. But now, he is young, and he is still an elite jonin who has killed countless enemies. Let the enemy escape or something. Non-existent. It was just the Umbu's actions that once again refreshed Tsunade and Jiraiya's outlook on life. It turns out that this is the real ninja. What were the casualties? One person was seriously injured and two were slightly injured. Ying, the captain of the Secret Service, had already completed the inspection. There is no death toll. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned. Are there any serious injuries? Tsunade. Exist. Tsunade stood up. Needless to say, she also knew what Sarutobi was asking her to do. Check. Yes. Tsunade nodded, dodged, and jumped to the wounded man and walked over. Orochimaru graduated 2.5 years ago. In the first half of the year, everyone was still working hard to practice basic skills, but in the next 2 years, the three of them started to learn skills. Orochimaru was doing experiments, Jiraiya is learning senjutsu, and Tsunade is learning medical ninjutsu. I have to say that it is really not an accident that a person can succeed. Talent and hard work are indispensable. This is the case for the Sunin. The seriously injured person was the Umbu codenamed Fox. His injury was a cut in the chest by Yun Ninja. The wound is so deep that you can see the bone. The Umbu captain looked at Tsunade's skillful movements and was once again surprised. He's actually a medical ninja. How can medical ninjas still have such strong fighting power? It's incredible. Medical ninjas are not yet popular nowadays, and can even be said to be a scarce resource. Therefore, whether it is Tsunade's profession or her age, it can be said that she lives up to the name of the Thousand Hands. Tsunade ignored the Umbu's words, and concentrated on examining the Umbu's wounds. His wound was so deep that he needed surgery immediately. Operation, can you do it now? It's a bit difficult, but I'll try my best. Okay, hurry up. Sarutobi replied decisively. As he spoke, he called out to the other two uninjured Umbu and took them to the surrounding area to be on guard. For a moment, there were only 3 wounded and Orochimaru left in the open space in the center of the forest. Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru, who was calm and composed, and then at Tsunade, who was skilled in movements. He suddenly felt that he was just a salted fish. Although his strength was already very good, both in terms of strength and psychological quality, even though he was there, he felt like he was far behind. But Tsunade didn't care what Jiraiya thought. After adjusting her breathing, she took out her medical bag. But at this moment, she suddenly felt that someone tapped me on the shoulder. Tsunade, let him drink this, it will make your surgery easier. Big, Orochimaru? Looking at the transparent liquid in a small test tube in Orochimaru's hand, Tsunade was stunned. What's this? Orochimaru said casually. It speeds up the recovery of wounds. Yeah. Tsunade was a little confused. However, it was important to save people now, and she trusted Orochimaru, so she just hesitated for a moment before giving the potion to the fox to drink. Now that she believes in Orochimaru, it's the same as believing in Sarutobi Hiruzen. Bear with it. After the fox finished drinking, Tsunade reminded him, and then took out a series of things such as disinfectant, gauze, stitches, etc. from the medical bag to prepare for the operation. But Orochimaru looked carefully at the Umbu's wounds. Changes. Gene repair solution can quickly restore or even regenerate damaged cells. It is not expensive. After the raw materials are used up, you can also use technology points to purchase it in the mall. 100 technology points per copy. And individual materials also sold individually. Depending on the material value, so the required technology points are different. The lowest priced material only costs 1 yuan. Bah, you can buy it with 1 technology point. So Orochimaru has nothing to regret. The reason why he took it out now is because he has never found a suitable experimental subject and just wanted to do an experiment. In other words, this is the first time he has acted on a seriously injured human body. How is this going? At this time, Tsunade looked at the slowly recovering wound and was completely stunned. She just disinfected and then cleaned the wound. Then, you can see that the wound has completely healed. She thought she had seen it wrong, but she didn't expect. Gene repair solution works great. The fox's wound is automatically recovering at a slow speed. Although it is not as good as the immortal's body, the healing effect is almost the same as when biting the phosphorus in the original novel. Others heard the exclamation and quickly gathered around. What's wrong? Tsunade. His wound. Everyone heard the news and quickly saw the wound that was slowly healing. How so? It's incredible. What's even more surprising is Sarutobi. He can't even speak now. Because he has only seen this kind of situation in the first Hokage. Although the recovery speed is slower, it is indeed happening automatically. Healing. If we continue at this rate, we won't even need surgery. Orochimaru, did you really make this thing? After understanding the whole story, Sarutobi Hiruzen called Orochimaru aside and said very carefully. This disciple, from graduation to now, has given him too many surprises. Learning talent, fighting talent, battlefield adaptability, and adaptability, as well as the newly discovered scientific research talent. Which one is not outstanding? Not to mention anything else, the gene repair fluid just now is enough to attract his attention. Just kidding, it is similar to the first generation Hokage resilience. You know, who is the first Hokage? He is the god of the ninja world. His power is unique in the entire ninja world. Can the recovery power of the first Hokage be achieved with just one potion? Sarutobi Makoto, some of them can't believe what they just heard. After all, the second generation Hokage has been studying how to bring the power of Senjo Hashirama back to the world. Now the second generation Hokage has not done it, but he has been beaten by the 8-year-old Orochimaru did it. Yes, teacher. Hearing what Sarutobi said, Orochimaru replied calmly. He originally planned to use the modified genetic enhancement fluid to enter the experimental base of Konoha village in advance. Although the current situation is somewhat different from what he expected, he can still implement his plan. The purpose. Therefore, when he heard Sarutobi Hiruzen's question, he did not hide it. Unbelievable. Hearing Orochimaru's own admission, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru with obvious horror. Originally, it was a rare good thing that his disciples were excellent, but Orochimaru's current excellence has already it's an exaggeration. As the top group of people in Konoha village, Sarutobi Hiruzen knows very well. Unless a person's combat power reaches the tailed beast level, no matter how strong he is, there is a limit. But in scientific research and technology with such an outstanding talent in this area, it is entirely possible to change the overall combat effectiveness of a great country's ninja village. In other words, if Orochimaru's talent in this area is discovered by an enemy country, or if he himself wants to be detrimental to the village, it would be a disaster. Sarutobi is a hero after all, and he has already thought a lot at this moment. Eagle, take the 3 of them back first. Back among the crowd, after seeing Tsunade bandaging the other 2 slightly injured Umbu, Sarutobi Hiruzen decisively gave orders. Originally, he planned to lead the 3 of them to familiarize themselves with the battlefield, but the hand Orochimaru showed just now made him instantly changed attention. There is no way, if Orochimaru has really mastered this technology, then his life safety will become extremely important. Yes. Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's order, Eagle nodded decisively. He also saw the situation just now, so he naturally guessed something. So, he didn't hesitate too much. The eagle was running in front and Orochimaru and the other three were following behind. Jiraiya and Tsunade seemed to realize something and remained silent the whole way. Even the coldness shown by Orochimaru after the battle was forgotten by them. 3 days later, a group of 4 returned to Konoha. But after the eagle came back, he turned around and ran back to the front line. Just like that, Orochimaru and the other 3 suddenly became idle. Orochimaru also decided to take a rest before Konoha's top brass returned to the village. The next morning, he came to a big tree where he used to rest. He lay on the branches and looked at the sunlight shining through the leaves. There is peace in my heart. A huge flower python was crawling on the branch next to him. Orochimaru turned a blind eye. Because this flower python is the one his parents raised. As long as you enter Konoha's high-level experimental base, you should have a chance to come into contact with the cells of the first-generation Hokage. Orochimaru muttered to himself. Although in his memory, Orochimaru could easily access the cells of the first Hokage, but that should be many years later. Therefore, if you want to contact him in advance, you must take the initiative. This is why Orochimaru did not hesitate to come up with his research results before. Orochimaru. A crisp voice interrupted Orochimaru's thoughts. Orochimaru turned around and saw Tsunade blinking and staring at him under the tree. What's wrong? Without, it's nothing, I just think the barbecue restaurant at the end of the village seems good. Should we try it? Tsunade is a student of medical ninjutsu. Although her research direction is different from Orochimaru's, they are similar. Therefore, she knows the importance of that potion. This time, she came here to discuss this aspect with Orochimaru. Sure. Orochimaru jumped down from the tree. Let's go. Well, etc. Tsunade quickly followed. The two of them gradually moved away, and the flower python on the tree also turned into white smoke and disappeared. Orochimaru was so straightforward, which made Tsunade a little uncomfortable. But she quickly kept up with Orochimaru. Murao, a barbecue restaurant. The barbecue here is really good. Tender and juicy. Even Orochimaru has a huge appetite. Because the 3 of them went to the battlefield and went back and forth plus the search time, it took a total of more than 10 days. You can't eat such delicious food while fighting outside. It's so delicious. I don't know where that Jiraiya guy has gone. Otherwise, we can enjoy this delicious food together. Tsunade also ate happily, eating barbecue while hesitating. Seeing Tsunade eating, Orochimaru showed a smile for the first time. You, why are you laughing? Seeing Orochimaru didn't speak, Tsunade raised her head subconsciously. Then she saw Orochimaru's smile. You know, Orochimaru smiles, which is a rare thing. In the more than 2 years of getting along here, Tsunade can be sure no more than 5 times. Without, nothing. Orochimaru shook his head slightly. For some reason, every time he saw Tsunade eating, he felt peaceful for no reason. This feeling seemed to be familiar and made him very comfortable. Why are you so weird? Tsunade couldn't help but mutter. But she was young after all, so she quickly put the matter behind her and continued to enjoy the food. Orochimaru wants to obtain Konoha resources. Therefore, he needs to reveal certain scientific research talents to Konoha. In this way, Konoha's higher UPS will definitely arrange for him to participate in some experiments. At that time, whatever you want is just a matter of words. But now, the second Hokage and other senior officials are still on the front line, so he can only wait. Talk to yourself when they come back. He believed that what he showed was enough to attract their attention. But he never expected that the wait would be a month. This morning, he was doing experiments at his home. Tsunade watched Orochimaru's operation process carefully from the side. Tsunade and Jiraiya, ever since they learned that Orochimaru can create a super recovery potion, well, Tsunade and Jiraiya called it that. The two of them admired Orochimaru so much. Even Jiraiya, who likes to argue the most, admires him greatly now. After all, the resilience of this thing is really amazing. Jiraiya has zero talent in medicine, so although he admires Orochimaru, he still has no interest in Orochimaru's research and travels between Konoha and Mt. Mayaboku every day. But Tsunade is different. She is the future medical master, good at preparing various antidotes and healing medicines. Therefore, he has a strong interest in Orochimaru's super recovery potion. Orochimaru, do you think this herb can be replaced by another herb? Looking at a few green leaves lying quietly in the beaker, Tsunade squatted on the ground and blinked, asking curiously. Of course, although the effect is slightly worse, the main effect is not the effect. How awesome! You guys know so much! Even better than the dean! Tsunade exclaimed. Orochimaru knew that the director she was talking about was the director of Konoha Hospital. The majors are all different, so what's the difference between them? Hey, I just think you're awesome. Orochimaru shook his head helplessly, and just as he was about to say something, a burst of noise suddenly came from outside. Hi, outside, what happened? After hearing Orochimaru's words, Tsunade was also confused and ran out of the room in 3 steps. Soon she understood the whole story. The war ended, Konoha won a great victory, and the ninjas began to return to the village in large numbers. The villagers are holding a welcoming ceremony. A large number of Konoha ninjas have returned from the front line. At this time, they have arrived at the entrance of Konoha village. These villagers are all the family members of the ninjas. Seeing their family members coming back, each and every one of them burst into tears. Of course, there are still some who have not come back, or who have come back with corpses. At this time, they also broke down and cried. Even though we won the battle, it was still very sad. Tsunade murmured to herself. Orochimaru said this kind of war will continue for many years, just get used to it. Return, will it last for many more years? Of course, do you think that after this war is over, the world will be at peace immediately? Orochimaru said calmly. World War II, Third War, Fourth War. Which war is not littered with corpses? There are just some things that are not suitable to be explained clearly. After hearing Orochimaru's words, Tsunade couldn't express what she felt in her heart, but I heard Orochimaru's voice but it sounded again. Strangeness, why didn't the second Hokage come back? Tsunade was stunned and said, yes, not only did the second grandpa not come back, but neither did Sarutobi-sensei. Thinking of this, she ran out and stopped one of the ninjas that, Sayama-senpai. Oh? It turns out to be little Tsunade. What's wrong? What's up? The ninja was stunned for a moment, then smiled heartily. Tsunade also smiled and said it's nothing, I just want to ask, didn't the Hokage come back with you? You mean Hokage-sama? Lord Hokage took several other adults to the border to sign an alliance agreement with the Kingdom of Thunder, so it should be 2 days late. Oh, so that's it. Hee, it's okay. Tsunade smiled and stopped asking. But when Orochimaru heard this, he couldn't help but frowned. The second Hokage went to sign an alliance agreement with the Kingdom of Thunder? Why does it sound so familiar? Suddenly, Orochimaru's mind a flash of inspiration. The second Hokage went to sign an armistice agreement, a gold and silver horn coup? In other words, the second Hokage is going to die? To be honest, Orochimaru was not very impressed by the second Hokage. After coming to Konoha village for so long, Orochimaru had never seen the second Hokage except when he went to the front line. Sarutobi would take the usual tasks and give them to do. And them? Except for Tsunade, he and Jiraiya only glanced at each other from a distance when giving large lectures. Because during this war period, most of the second Hokage was on the front line, and military affairs were cumbersome, most of which were war-related issues. There are not that many important tasks at all, and it takes 3 genin to meet the Hokage. Therefore, facing the tragedy of the second Hokage, Orochimaru, who was not familiar with him, could only say sorry. Of course, if you want to ask Orochimaru, does he want to change the course of history? Of course there is. However, some things can be changed, and some things cannot be changed. Like now. Although he is already very strong now, he is still less than 9 years old after all. People speak softly, and not many people will believe what they say. If you run up to others and say, Golden Horn and Silver Horn will cause a coup, and the second Hokage will die. Maybe people will ask you back, how did you know? Then he couldn't answer it, or hesitated a little, so he was immediately arrested and sliced up. Even if it was because of Sarutobi, the higher UPS reluctantly believed what he said. But to put it bluntly, what does the life and death of the second Hokage have to do with him? Please forgive Orochimaru for being a selfish person now. Because of his experiences before time travel, he understood what it means that good people don't live long, and disasters last for thousands of years. He has sworn not to be a good person again. Save people? Not to mention whether it was too late now, even if it was possible, he didn't want to take the risk. Sure enough, it seemed to be to confirm Orochimaru's conjecture. 7 days later, Sarutobi Hiruzen and others returned to the village, and they brought back the body of Uchiha Kagami. 3 days later, the body of the second Hokage was also transported back from the Kingdom of Thunder. Just like that, the world of Konoha village in the country of fire changed. First of all, there is the funeral of the second Hokage. All Konoha ninjas participated, including Orochimaru of course. At the funeral, the ninjas of Konoha couldn't believe their eyes. Why did the second Hokage die in battle even though the war was won? Hasn't the Kingdom of Thunder surrendered? Now they simply can't imagine that the Kingdom of Thunder is also a victim this time. Their second generation Raikage also died. Secondly, Hiruzen Sarutobi will succeed as Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen's position as Hokage was given by the second Hokage in times of danger. So on the surface, it seems that it is a sure thing that he will become the third Hokage. However, there is serious fighting within Konoha village. Of course, many people will be dissatisfied if he becomes Hokage. Among them, his friend Shimura Danzo is one of them. He and Sarutobi had been competing with each other since childhood, but in the end, because of an order given by the second Hokage before his death, he had no chance of becoming the Hokage in this life. At least that was the case when Hiruzen Sarutobi was alive. Because the duty of a ninja is to obey. What's more, the person who issued the order was his spiritual idol, the second Hokage. Of course, in addition to Danzo, the Uchiha clan is also very dissatisfied. Because Konoha village was founded by the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara. Logically speaking, Konoha village should have their share of Uchiha. But from the first year of Konoha to the current Konoha 19th year, the Hokage has reached the third generation, but there is no Hokage from their Uchiha clan? This has to be said to be a shame. You said that the first Hokage Senju Hashirama should be the Hokage, so forget it. After all, it is Mr. Ban who conquers the world with you. They also recognized the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. After all, you are the younger brother of the first Hokage, and both of them have the surname Senju. But why do you, Hiruzen Sarutobi? You are neither the hero who founded the village nor a member of the Senju and Uchiha tribesmen. Why do you become Hokage? However, they were even more miserable than Danzo, and they did not even dare to express their dissatisfaction. Because when the second Hokage was in power, they suppressed their clansmen too hard, and they didn't dare to express anything at all. When the third Hokage takes over, he naturally has to entrust his own people with important responsibilities. Morning, Hokage conference room. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen has already put on his own god robe. He is young, energetic, and high-spirited. Behind him is his longtime friend, Danzo Shimura. Danzo, I'm really sorry about what happened this time. The third Hokage looked apologetic. He knew that Danzo had always wanted to be Hokage, but before he left, the second Hokage asked him to be Hokage. This is something he cannot refuse. Because Hokage is also an honor for him. Hearing this, Shimura Danzo snorted coldly. Don't make sarcastic remarks there. Teacher, he asked you to be the Hokage. I have nothing to say. Now I just want to ask, how do you plan to secure the position of Hokage? What do you mean? Hearing this, the third Hokage couldn't help but frown. This guy obviously meant something in his words. Shimura Danzo sneered. What do you mean? Don't tell me you don't know who is making those voices that oppose you. So what? Hearing this, the third Hokage smiled confidently. I believe that with my ability, I can definitely make them. Sarutobi. Danzo Shimura shouted angrily, interrupting the third Hokage. Please stop being naive. Konoha was founded by Senju and Uchiha, and your surname is Sarutobi. If you don't quell these objections, you won't be able to secure your position. Quell opposition. Sarutobi was stunned for a moment, then his eyes turned sharp. Then what do you want to do? Give me Umbu deployment rights. I'll shut them up. I have to say that Danzo is really ruthless in what he does. In order to stabilize his position, he immediately became murderous. No, you can't do that. Sarutobi immediately knew what Danzo meant and rejected it decisively. He knew Danzo's style of dealing with things, so he absolutely couldn't agree. Danzo said calmly, don't worry, I won't mess around. That's not okay, we are all ninjas of Konoha. Sarutobi. You are really not suitable for this position. Danzo said calmly, a village cannot have only light but no darkness. You are too naive. Sarutobi and Danzo once again had a dispute because of different ideas. Danzo's meaning is very simple, just send those who object to carry out important tasks and then let them die on the way. As for whether he is killed by the enemy or by his own people, that is up to him. All he had to do was prevent others from being suspicious in Konoha. With Danzo's ability, it was easy to do this. It's just that Sarutobi inherited the will of the first Hokage, which is completely opposite to Danzo. He can be ruthless towards his enemies, but he is still a bit unable to deal with his own people. Sarutobi Hiruzen is now the Hokage. Danzo has no way to disobey Sarutobi, so he has no choice but to agree to Sarutobi's observation for a while. But he was still unwilling to give in and told Sarutobi his other idea. Establishing an independent Umbu training class. Hearing Danzo's idea, Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned. Danzo wants to establish this institution to help him train Umbu? Are you kidding? Danzo said lightly, yes, you are the Hokage now, and there are many things that are not suitable for you. Do it, leave these things to me from now on. This, Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes. As a companion who has grown up together, of course he understands what Danzo is thinking. Danzo has always wanted to compete for the position of Hokage, but unfortunately the second Hokage finally passed the position to him, so Danzo has no choice but to gain some power from another angle. An independent political power other than the Hokage has never existed since the founding of Konoha, but Hiruzen Sarutobi knew that if he didn't give it, Danzo might do something irreversible, which he didn't want to see. Because the two grew up together, they can be considered the best companions. And as someone who has obtained the position of Hokage, he also feels that he should make some compensation to Danzo in these aspects. Therefore, after much hesitation, Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly made a decision. Okay, but we still have to discuss it with Koharu and Menyan. Of course. Danzo didn't refuse. Because he knew that Koharu Kashumi and Mito Kazuo would not oppose him. You know the 6 disciples of the second Hokage, why Koharu Kashumi and Mito Kyobu became elders. Isn't it because they have no family background? As long as their demands are not too excessive, how can they object without background support? So, the Umbu training class Gen, which is independent of the Hokage regime, was established. On the other side, in front of Orochimaru's house. Orochimaru. What's wrong? Can you take a walk with me? This, all right. At noon, 2 figures walked slowly forward on the street. Today, Orochimaru is still wearing a white robe with Megatama. And Tsunade is wearing green short sleeves and shorts, with a rope wrapped around her waist. Blue belt. Tell me, when will this war end? Tsunade, who was walking, suddenly said something sentimental. It was obvious that she was in a bad mood. After hearing the question, Orochimaru said lightly, I don't know, but I know a way to end the war. Any solution? Tsunade was a little surprised. She was just asking casually, and she didn't expect Orochimaru, who was about the same age as herself, to be able to answer. She didn't expect Orochimaru to bring up such an interesting topic. Orochimaru paused, and then said it coldly. 2 words: unity. System, unite? Tsunade was surprised. This guy doesn't have a high fever and is talking nonsense, right? Good. Orochimaru ignored him and continued, only through unification can we achieve true peace. What, when did you learn to joke? Tsunade was speechless. The 5 major ninja villages have been in conflict for a long time. How easy is it to achieve unification? It's not easy, but it's not impossible. Orochimaru replied calmly, forget it, let's not talk about this, let's go, I'll treat you to roast chicken. Alas, how did you know that I like to eat roasted tender chicken? I often see you running to buy things alone. Hehe, I didn't expect you to pay attention to others. Tsunade suddenly blushed. Orochimaru said calmly, it's nothing. If I remember correctly, Jiraiya has invited you alone many times. I don't want to go with that big pervert. Tsunade said matter-of-factly, and then smiled slightly. As for a boyfriend, Orochimaru is more suitable for you. Yet. Of course, if you want. Let's talk about it when we grow up. Well? So you agree? Facing Tsunade's direct response, Orochimaru was a little overwhelmed. If both parties were adults now, he might not hesitate at all. You may even use some means to release the evil in your heart. But now, the strengthened physique is not the reason for his early development. Even if he has been reborn, he will not be able to have a dramatic relationship with a woman before he is 9 years old. After casually giving Tsunade a few perfunctory words, the 2 of them arrived at the village's grilled chicken restaurant. Hey, that's... As soon as they arrived, the 2 of them discovered an acquaintance. Oh? Orochimaru? Tsunade? Haha, why are you here? Come, and sit here. A young man in white clothes and white hair saw the 2 people standing at the door and quickly stood up to say hello to them. Why are you 2 alone, and Jiraiya didn't come either? That guy went to practice somewhere else. Tsunade said casually. Nowadays, the 3 ninjas only get together when they are gathering or have missions. Usually, they are usually busy with their own affairs, one is doing research, and the other is practicing magic. One learns medical ninjutsu. Jiraiya also learned senjutsu, which was originally a very hidden thing. At least until he learned it, Orochimaru and Tsunade couldn't know about it. But things are different now. His whereabouts have long become an open secret between the 3 of them. Orochimaru knows, and Tsunade naturally knows, but they won't tell others about it. Even if this person is their friend, it's impossible. Orochimaru looked at the young man in white clothes and white hair in front of him. Birahu, are you alone? Of course not, I came with Dai and he went to the toilet. Birahu said with a smile. As soon as he finished speaking, a boy wearing green tights came over from the direction of the toilet. Now, let me introduce to you. Seeing the person coming, Orochimaru was stunned. In fact, no introduction is needed, Orochimaru also knows him. It's just that he didn't expect that Birahu actually knew Mat Dai. This is incredible, okay? But if you think about it carefully, it seems normal. Birahu was 1 year younger than him. More than a year ago, Jiraiya had the courage to help Birahu. So this guy became the follower of the 3 of them. And Mat Dai is just 1 year younger than him. Not only are the 2 of them the same age, but they also have similar physical fitness and ninja talent. Well, they are all at the tail end of the crane. Even if they are not classmates, they should still have a common language. So it's not surprising that they came together. Oh? It turns out that he is the disciple of Lord Hokage. He is really awesome. My name is Matt Day, please give me some advice. With that said, Matt Day bowed slightly to Orochimaru and Tsunade, with a loud voice and a very humble attitude. Faced with Matt Dai's respect, Orochimaru said nothing, but Tsunade scratched it a little embarrassedly. Scratch your own hair. No, not so polite, we. Okay, please take a seat. Yes. Mate Day nodded and sat next to Beilyuhu. There is something special about this party. 2 crane tails, 2 geniuses. 2 types of people who seemed completely impossible to get together, but for various reasons, they sat together by mistake. But Orochimaru, who knows the plot, will naturally not underestimate these 2 crane tails. Matt Day, the founder of 8 Gate Dungia. On the other hand, Beiryuhu was not willing to be mediocre. In order to catch up with the footsteps of the Sunin, he developed a forbidden technique called a Nigawara no Jutsu. This forbidden technique can fuse ninjas or psychic beasts with one's own body, and can even fuse the blood succession limit. It can be said that it is extremely similar to Orochimaru's genetic fusion. Although his Nigawara technique is completely different from Orochimaru's genetic fusion, he can do this on his own, which can be said to be very powerful. I remember that when Orochimaru first met Beiryuhu, he had already included this guy in his experiment list. It's just that he hasn't decided yet whether he should be his experimental subject or his subordinate. Of course, no matter which one it is, now is not the time. After eating the roast chicken, Orochimaru originally wanted to pay, but Beiryuhu tried to force him to pay. Orochimaru was not pretentious about this, because based on his understanding of Beiryuhu, if he forced payment, the guy would definitely be unhappy. The 4 of them came out of the roast chicken. Looking at the 2 people leaving, Tsunade turned Orochimaru with her arm. Oh, Orochimaru, that guy in green clothes, why do I feel like I've seen him before somewhere? Everyone is from the same village, so it's normal to meet each other. No, I mean the kind that has some impression. Orochimaru raised his hand and was about to speak. Whizzing! 2 umbu came out of nowhere and landed in front of them, interrupting his thoughts. Orochimaru, summoned by the Hokage. Hearing this, Orochimaru breathed a sigh of relief. Have you finally thought of yourself? Hokage conference room. The 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, sat at the top of the table wearing a royal robe. On both sides of him are 3 elders, Koharu, Mito Kaden, and Danzo Shimura. Akimichi Tofu and Uchiha Kagami, both disciples of the 2nd Hokage, are not included in this list. Although the 6 of them are both disciples of the 2nd Hokage, Akimichi Takafo has family power and is not suitable to be a high-level official in Konoha. And the Uchiha mirror? Now it's a corpse. Even if he is still alive, the Uchiha clan has always been the target of suppression by the 2nd Hokage. Even if he has been recognized by the 2nd Hokage and affirmed by Danzo, Uchiha is Uchiha. Want to join the top management of Konoha? It's simply impossible. You said that the potion made by Orochimaru can give people amazing recovery power? After discussing the details of the establishment of Root, several people finally shifted the topic to Orochimaru. It's just that Shimura Danzo still couldn't believe his ears at this time. Since signing the alliance contract with the Kingdom of Thunder, they have been busy. Busy with the diplomacy between the 2 countries, busy with the 2 countries' Hokage's funeral, busy with Sarutobi Hiruzen's rise to power. Now that everything was finally ready, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally remembered his disciple. Then when he mentioned Orochimaru's situation, they all showed incredulous expressions. What a surprise! Yeah, it's unbelievable. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded slightly. This matter is absolutely true, Eagle can prove it. How can this be? Danzo still doesn't believe it. You know, it's similar to the resilience of the 1st Hokage. So many professionals at the top of Konoha have studied it, but there has been no progress at all. At this time, it was researched by an 8 or 9-year-old kid. Who would believe it? Sarutobi. Hiruzen smiled bitterly. I don't think it's possible, but that was the situation at the time. If you don't believe it, wouldn't you know if you investigate it yourself? Of course I'll investigate. Danzo said calmly. It's just this kind of thing. For such an important matter, even if he had believed Sarutobi's words, he would investigate it thoroughly afterwards. Because this fact really matters. Of course, the most important thing is that it's hard for people to believe this kind of thing just by hearing it, right? Tuk tuk tuk. There's a knock on the door. Orochimaru, dressed in casual clothes, pushed open the door and entered. Teacher. Orochimaru called out politely. In any case, Sarutobi did teach him a lot. There is nothing wrong with calling him teacher. As soon as he entered the conference room, he felt a few strange looks. Sarutobi Hiruzen he smiled. Orochimaru, you are here. Well, you are talented and intelligent. Do you know why the teacher is looking for you? No, teacher. Orochimaru said calmly. He has been waiting for this day for too long. Ahem, then the teacher will stop beating around the bush. Sarutobi Hiruzen's meaning is very obvious. He just wants Orochimaru to share the scientific research results with the village. First, he plays the emotional card and talks about the master-disciple relationship, and then finds out the ins and outs of why Orochimaru engages in scientific research. Orochimaru came here for a purpose, and he naturally knew all about it. However, he still concealed some things. For example, the raw materials for gene repair solution. Because of this raw material, there are two kinds of herbs that are not available in this world, at least he has not seen them so far. If you want to make the next potion, unless you find the same herb, you have to find a substitute. When they heard about the rare medicinal materials, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo were a little disappointed, but they also felt that this seemed more reasonable. Otherwise, if you just make a potion, you can gain a ninja's recovery power similar to that of an immortal body in a short period of time, then why would anyone else play with it? Of course, even so, Orochimaru's research results still surprised them. You know, Orochimaru is less than 9 years old now. With his scientific research talent, he can make a huge contribution to the village with just a little training. In this case, Orochimaru, you go back first. As for the arrangements on your side, wait until we discuss it. Okay, teacher. Orochimaru was not in a hurry, turned around and left the office. He spent a lot of time waiting anyway, and he didn't care about the past few days. After Orochimaru left, Danzo also left shortly after. He was the first to find the eagle of the Umbu. Eagle, at this time I was on duty, and when I saw Danzo, I didn't react at all. Group, Lord Danzo. Danzo nodded slightly. Well, let me ask you, 2 months ago, Sarutobi was the one who led you to eliminate the Kumo Ninja Division. Yes, my lord. That time when your subordinates were injured. After listening to Eagle's story, Danzo quickly made his own judgment in his mind. Suppressing the shock in his heart, he found the fox again and checked his wounds. It is said that the wound that was so deep that the bone was visible at that time does not even leave a scar now, and even the old scars have disappeared. Not only does it have the ability to repair cells, but it also has the ability to regenerate cells? Isn't this the resilience of the first Hokage? Suddenly, Danzo shocked Orochimaru into a god. This guy is simply a genius. He had already noticed Orochimaru, but now he was even more concerned. Orochimaru was very satisfied with the reaction of Konoha's top management. Because for him, although the repair effect of the genetic repair solution is very good, it is actually only average. You know, in the world of Naruto, in addition to the sage body of the first Hokage and the special physique of Xiang Phosphorus, there are many other abilities that can also achieve this kind of recovery effect. Even more exaggerated than the effect of genetic repair solution. For example, with the immortal talisman of Mt. Mayaboku, even if Hamura was punched through the stomach, he could still be resurrected with full health in a short time. Another example is Kisame Same Hata, which absorbs chakra to help heal its owner, and it's incredibly fast. Another example is Tsunade's own creative regeneration. When she uses this technique, even if you stab her in the heart, it will have no effect. Therefore, gene repair solution and the like are nothing at all. With a small amount of gene repair solution, you can get a lot of experimental materials, which is even more profitable. Walking on the bustling streets of Konoha village, looking at the lively crowd, Orochimaru sighed in his heart. This is the strength of Konoha. Even after going through the battlefield, there are still so many people on this street. Don't underestimate the importance of population. You must know that the Land of Fire country is the richest area in the entire ninja world. The population base is also the largest. Although there are many families in Konoha, these family ninjas only account for a small proportion of Konoha ninjas. Most of Konoha is composed of civilian ninjas. These talents are the cornerstone of Konoha, and the major families are just the pillars. It doesn't work without anyone. This is the first time Orochimaru has come to this world and put down everything like this, walking leisurely on the street, watching these villagers coming and going, and immersing himself in it. This feeling is very comfortable. Make him want to enjoy all this unconsciously. Orochimaru, Orochimaru. Orochimaru was just about to go shopping elsewhere when he suddenly heard a sneaky voice coming over. Orochimaru turned around and saw Tsunade standing in front of a skewer stall, waving to her excitedly. He walked over slowly. What's wrong? Can it, please eat this? Tsuna pointed at the kebabs on the stall next to him and said excitedly. Seeing Tsunade's drooling look, Orochimaru was stunned. I just went to see the teacher's kung fu, you, hungry again? Just now, Baileahu and the others were here, and I wasn't even full. Tsunade said matter-of-factly. She eats a lot. However, as a princess of the Senjo clan, she naturally has to maintain her daughter's image in front of others. So when faced with her favorite food just now, she could only stop it. Hearing this, Orochimaru nodded slightly, and suddenly he thought of something. Did you lose all your money again? This, hey. Tsunade smiled awkwardly. You still understand me? Really, Orochimaru is helpless. He took the money and bought 10 skewers, handed it to Tsunade, then turned and left. Because he is doing experiments, even if he has been doing the task for more than 2 years, he is not very rich now. The deposit is less than 100,000 taels. However, although he is very poor now, except for eating and buying ninja tools, there is nothing else in this world that requires expenditure. So when faced with Tsunade's request, he had no reason to refuse. Seeing Orochimaru leaving, Tsunade chased after him with meat skewers. Hey, Orochimaru, wait! Won't you eat some? Tsunade handed the meat skewer to Orochimaru. I don't want to eat any more. I want to go to the training ground to practice ninjutsu. Then I'm going to. Let's go. Konoha village, training ground. Jiraiya was lying on the grass sweating profusely, with a confused look on his face. Really, Jiraiya-sama, why do I have to train so hard? Everyone has a reason to work hard. Either for money, power, or girls. However, no matter what it is for, there is always a reason. At this time, Jiraiya can't find himself a reason to work hard. But as soon as he finished speaking, the situation where he went to find Orochimaru and unexpectedly ran into Tsunade appeared in his mind. I don't want to go with that big pervert. As for a boyfriend, Orochimaru is more suitable for you. This sentence deeply hurt his young heart. Moreover, Tsunade said this sentence more than once, and once she said it in front of him. In the past, he only thought Tsunade was joking, but now. Damn it, Tsunade really likes Orochimaru. So, the answer is very simple. Jiraiya suddenly felt like he had a clear realization. I want to become the most powerful ninja, and I want to impress that guy Tsunade. Not just Tsunade, I want all the ladies to look at me with admiration. Ha, now that the goal is clear, there is no time to dilly-dally. Thinking of this, Jiraiya immediately stood up like a carp, and his whole body was full of energy as if he had been on a stimulant. He clenched his fists with both hands and looked up to the sky and roared. I want to work hard. But his motivation lasted for less than a second, and his whole person turned to stone in an instant. Because in the distance, Orochimaru and Tsunade were walking side by side towards the training ground. Tsunade was still holding meat skewers in her hand, and from time to time feed Orochimaru a bite. Although Orochimaru ate reluctantly, the bright smile on Tsunade's face was unfailing. Why do you do this to me, Jiraiya is going crazy. Orochimaru, I challenge you, challenge. Konoha training ground. Looking at the white-haired boy who suddenly appeared from the front, Orochimaru was a little surprised. Just seeing Jiraiya's movements, he instantly understood what was going on. It must have been Tsunade teasing him just now when he was there. This guy saw him. Jiraiya clenched his fists with both hands, full of fighting spirit, just like when he was in the ninja school before, eager to have a duel between men with Orochimaru. Jiraiya, please save it. Before Orochimaru could speak, Tsunade, who was nibbling on a kebab next to her, casually scorned him with your current strength, how can you be Orochimaru's opponent? I don't care, I'm going to fight him. Jiraiya's second disease broke out and shouted loudly, Orochimaru, come on, let's have a showdown. Idiot. Orochimaru didn't want to pay attention to him. How could he not know what Jiraiya was thinking? It's just that fighting him was really pointless. Orochimaru, stop. Seeing Orochimaru was about to leave, Jiraiya immediately shouted, clenched his fists and stepped forward. Punch me. Jiraiya seems to have made up his mind. He must have a fight today before he gives up. In the past 2 months, his strength has improved a lot, so he still has the confidence to face Orochimaru now. Orochimaru's eyes were slightly stern, and he turned sideways to let go of his fist, and kicked him at the same time. The moves he used to deal with Uchiha couldn't help but use them on Jiraiya. However, Jiraiya was not Uchiha gathered, and he also knew Orochimaru's moves very well. If he missed the attack, he immediately turned around to block. Bang! Orochimaru kicked Jiraiya on the arm, and Jiraiya was kicked out. What a powerful force! Although Jiraiya had expected it, his arm was still a little numb from Orochimaru's kick. He was still in the air, forcibly twisting his body, posing and landing firmly. However, the powerful one on Orochimaru's leg, the force caused him to slide for several meters before landing on his feet. Give up, Jiraiya, you are no match for me. Orochimaru said calmly. Since using the genetic enhancement liquid, his physical and mental strength have been greatly increased. In terms of strength and reaction, he is naturally much stronger than ordinary ninjas. Although Orochimaru feels that his physical strength, jutsu and so on are not in line with his style. He should be the same as Orochimaru in the original work, following the route of ninjutsu and forbidden jutsu. But the changes in his body are beyond his control. In someone's words, it's, I'm so awesome, do you blame me? Stop talking nonsense and watch the moves. After landing, Jiraiya was still full of fighting spirit. While speaking, he quickly formed seals with his hands. Fire escape. Flame bomb. Boom. Huge flames, with hot air waves, swept towards Orochimaru overwhelmingly. Jiraiya he is also very good at fire escape. His fire escape technique can be said to be no worse than the Uchiha clan, who are the best at fire escape. Fire escape. Flame bullet is Jiraiya's unique fire escape technique. Hold the oil made from chakra in your mouth and spit it out. It is a ninjutsu that uses fire escape to burn it at the same time and attacks in the shape of a fire bullet. Limiting the amount of oil can shorten the activation time of the ninjutsu. If the enemy is careless, the fire bomb with oil will be burned to death. It can be used up. It can also spit out the oil multiple times in a row like ordinary fire escape. It is different from other fire escapes in that there is oil in his fire escape. After hitting the enemy, it is easier to stick to the enemy and have a burning effect. Seeing this fire escape, Tsunade, who had already stepped aside, was speechless. "Jiraiya, this guy is serious about it as soon as he comes here." She was a little surprised, but her tone was unusually relaxed. She was not worried about Orochimaru at all. She even walked to sit on the grass nearby as if watching a show. Because she also knew Orochimaru's strength very well. The fact is true. In this way, facing this intensity of fire escape, Orochimaru not only did not hide, but also had no interest in releasing ninjutsu to block it. The fire quickly enveloped Orochimaru. Looking at the fire that was still burning in front of him, Jiraiya did not relax his vigilance, because he knew that Orochimaru would not be killed so easily. After losing the chakra supply, the fire gradually disappeared, but where was Orochimaru still in the scene? Sure enough, it's gone. Jiraiya seemed to have expected it. He was about to search where the other party was when he suddenly became vigilant and rushed forward a few meters. The next second, Orochimaru's figure slowly appeared in front of Jiraiya just now. Location. He came out of the soil on the ground. There is no doubt. Earth escape. Sarutobi Hiruzen's best 5-element escape technique has been used by Orochimaru at this time. It seems that if I don't defeat you today, I won't be able to practice properly. Hey, it's good to have this awareness. Jiraiya grinned and bit his finger to form another seal. "Orochimaru, please remember this moment. Today is the day that my handsome Lord Jiraiya defeats you, this stinky snake." Spiritual art. Bang! The runes spread and white smoke rose. A toad larger than an adult appeared in the sight of the three of them. "Jiraiya, why do you always like to call me when I'm on vacation?" Toad's dissatisfied voice reached the ears of several people. "Stop talking nonsense, I must defeat Orochimaru today." "Nani?" Orochimaru saw Jiraiya directly summoning a toad, and couldn't help but narrowed his eyes in this case. "Come on then." Similarly, the seal. The art of psychic. Bang! A flower python that is bigger than a toad appears in everyone's sight. Orochimaru doesn't know the name of the toad that Jiraiya channeled. "I don't trademark know what species this toad belongs to." He only knew that with Jiraiya's current strength, no matter what toad was channeled, it would not be able to defeat his snake. Because snakes are the natural enemies of toads. Unless Jiraiya can now channel the two immortals Fukazaku and Shima from Miyaboku Mountain, no matter which one he channels, he will only be beaten. Sure enough, when he saw the flower python spitting out the letter behind Orochimaru, the toad that was channeled began to sweat on its forehead. During previous training, it hated Orochimaru's snakes the most, and now it's being channeled to challenge him? Is this guy Jiraiya trying to trick a toad? At how young are these two guys able to use necromancy? Too strong. That is, Orochimaru, who used to be in our class. How awesome. The other one, is it Jiraiya? Has Jiraiya grown to this point? The training ground is very big, so there will naturally be other students, but they are far away. But the fire release ninjutsu released by Jiraiya just now attracted their attention. At this time, they were watching the battle between the two, let out a voice of admiration. There is no way, it is still very scary that a child of this age can release such an awesome ninjutsu. And after the opponent's ninjutsu is released, it is a psychic technique? This is even more unbelievable. Especially Orochimaru the snake, generally the more timid students, are even starting to retreat. At the same time, in the woods next to the training ground, there are two figures hidden on the trunk of a certain big tree. The dense woods have become their natural protective umbrella. They wore animal masks on their faces, and one of them held a monocular in his hand. It's unbelievable that this is a battle between two genin. Yes. Even many adult shogunin can't do this. No wonder Danzo-sama ordered us to keep an eye on him, at their age. Oops, no good. Flash mob. The two reacted quickly, and instantly dodged to the side. Phew. As soon as the two left the place, the white-haired kid wearing a beige red-edged robe flew towards them with a toad in midair, and there was the sound of a toad complaining. Hateful, little Jiraiya, don't summon me again for this boring battle next time. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, the toad turned into a ball of white smoke and disappeared. Boom! Jiraiya fell to the ground immediately, making a shallow pit in the ground, and a lot of smoke and dust rose from the pit. Pain, 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 it hurts, Orochimaru, this guy, is too cruel. In the smoke and dust, Jiraiya rubbed his head, complained, and struggled to sit up from the ground. Just now, he and his toad were swept over by the snake and the dragon's tail. He couldn't be beaten to death. Who would have thought that Orochimaru would actually use illusions on him and the toad? Although the illusion only lasted for a moment, it was enough for the snake to attack them. If the current illusion doesn't use that power, won't it be able to affect it for a long time? The first time he used genjutsu on a toad made Orochimaru understand his current level of genjutsu. Genjutsu is a technique that uses spiritual power to interfere with the enemy's chakra and cause the enemy's chakra to be disordered to cause hallucinations. It is a must for ninja combat. One of the 3 skills. For example, when the Uchiha clan uses the Sharingan on the enemy, they use the huge spiritual power of the Sharingan to interfere with the opponent's chakra, thereby causing the illusion of the enemy's chakra disorder. The caster, the stronger the spiritual power of the enemy, the faster it can interfere with the enemy's chakra. On the contrary, if the enemy has more chakra in the body, the more troublesome it will be for the caster to interfere. This is why those shadow-level powerhouses rarely fall prey to illusions. The reason? Because they have a huge amount of chakra, it is difficult to use mental power to interfere, and it will take a long time. During this period of time, the shadow-level strongman can easily break away from your mental interference. Unless your pupil, the power, that is, the spiritual power, can be so strong that it is outrageous, such as Uchiha Madara. Or, your illusion is outside the scope of ordinary illusion, such as Izanami, Infinite Tsukuyomi, etc. Gods, wait! Otherwise, illusions will be difficult to work on shadow-level experts. Just now, Orochimaru used a range-type illusion like Narakumi no Jutsu to interfere with Jiraiya and the toad, and then let himself the snake took the opportunity to attack. Not to mention, the effect was very good. Although Jiraiya reacted in time, the gap in strength left him no time to defend. Okay, you go back. Orochimaru said to the snake in his mind. Yes, master. The flower python said respectfully, and after saying that, it turned into a ball of white smoke and disappeared with a bang sound. Looking at the disappearing flower python, Orochimaru suddenly thought of an interesting thing. He signed a blood contract, so except for the few intelligent snakes in Longdi Cave, all other snakes with incomplete intelligence will obey my orders unconditionally. With my genetic technology now so awesome, can I cultivate a snake with incomplete intelligence? Like 10,000 snakes? Or a snake several times or 100 times stronger than 10,000 snakes? If it is really possible, then it is also a fortress, right? System, is there such genetic technology that can breed pets? Have. Really? Orochimaru raised his eyebrows. What? Biological genetic evolution fluid. The system's answer is very simple and straightforward. As long as you continue to experiment, all scientific research materials will be provided unconditionally. You don't need to develop it yourself. Orochimaru knows that this is equivalent to having predecessors contribute scientific research results to you on the road of scientific research. It can be said that you have taken a big shortcut. Otherwise, even if his current genetic knowledge is very good, it will be even more difficult to develop any new genetic drug. Just like those experts, just one genetic enhancement solution is probably enough for them to study for a lifetime. Orochimaru, what did you just use? Tsunade was a little unresponsive at this time. She was still holding the 2 remaining meat skewers in her hand. She didn't know what to say. In the previous battle, the 2 of them fought well, but at the last moment, I really don't understand. Why didn't the toad react at all when the snake went to hit the toad? Isn't this different from normal battles? Orochimaru said casually, it's nothing, I just used an illusion. Magical illusion? Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then quickly realized, when did you learn to use illusions to fight? I've always done it, I've just never used it, just on a whim, suddenly I want to try it. Orochimaru said calmly. Although in the original work, Orochimaru was defeated by Uchiha Itachi using illusion, but in fact, Orochimaru's illusion ability is still very strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have just used a look. He almost scared the three brats from class 7 to death. As long as he doesn't encounter those genjutsu geeks pretending to be Sharingan, Orochimaru's genjutsu ability can still be used. Especially now, the genetic enhancement fluid has fully improved his genjutsu abilities. Physical and mental strength, and because of the existence of the system, he has integrated the power of Uchiha. His mental strength has reached an exaggerated level. Even without the power of Uchiha, he can still perform ordinary illusions. Hearing that, Orochimaru Tsunade was speechless. It turns out that this guy used Jiraiya to practice. At this time, Jiraiya did not return to the training ground, but simply lay down on the spot. I have to say, he is very miserable, really miserable. He finally practiced a combined ninjutsu with his toad and prepared to show off his skills in front of Orochimaru, but he was defeated without even releasing the ninjutsu. Not to mention how frustrating this feeling is. I still can't beat this guy Orochimaru. Jiraiya looked at the sky and complained. He likes Tsunade, everyone knows this. It's a pity that Tsunade doesn't like him, everyone knows this. Not only does Tsunade dislike him, but she often beats him up. This made him very depressed. He knew that Tsunade liked Orochimaru, so he wanted to become stronger to make Tsunade change her mind. But being abused again and again made him want to give up. No matter how hard you try, you can't beat that guy Orochimaru, right? No, I am the extremely handsome Lord Jiraiya, I must find a way to defeat Orochimaru. Thinking of this, he closed his eyes and began to meditate. In fact, in the original work, through hard work and chance, Jiraiya could defeat Orochimaru after learning Senjutsu. However, he was very slow to learn the magic of immortality, and it took many years before he learned the magic of immortality. Therefore, if he wants to defeat Orochimaru, he probably has no hope in this life. Orochimaru trained with Tsunade at the training ground until the evening. After bidding farewell to Tsunade, he returned to his residence. Take a look at your properties panel. The current technology is cell transplantation. Next stage unlocked, splinter cell. There are a lot of technology points left, a total of 23,000 points. Orochimaru took one look and didn't care anymore. Because the skill of cell transplantation requires not only Konoha's support to use it. And for him, there is no gene fusion that is useful. Gene fusion can perfectly integrate other people's genes. As for cell transplantation, it can only be done through surgery, just like in the original work. Not only does the body look defective after the transplant, but it also fails to unleash the full power of the genes. Just like the original Captain Yamato. The cells of the first Hokage were transplanted, but they didn't have 1/10 of the fighting power of the first Hokage. They could only use wood release to do greening. It was a waste. The only advantage of cell transplantation is that it is cheap. Yes, cheap. Very cheap. There is no need for gene fusion fluid or any systematic things. It only needs to be combined with some ordinary drugs and you can complete the operation by yourself on the experimental subject. Therefore, Orochimaru is not in a hurry for such a useless skill. Forget it, let's see what the higher UPS in Konoha say first. After saying that, Orochimaru ignored these trivial matters and lay down directly on his little bed, closing his eyes and sleeping. In the next few days, Orochimaru lived a very leisurely life, not doing experiments or training. There was no task assigned to him from above. When he has nothing to do, he goes shopping, eats, and occasionally takes a bath in the bathhouse. His life is not too comfortable. Finally, On the fourth day, Sarutobi Hiruzen called him to the office. Orochimaru, after thinking about it these days, I always feel that although you are also very talented in scientific research, you are also my proudest disciple, so I decided to ask for your opinion first. Well, where are you planning to develop? Hearing what Sarutobi Hiruzen said, Orochimaru was stunned. What do you mean by this, teacher? Oh, I didn't make it clear. Sarutobi Hiruzen laughed. What I mean is that although you have good talents in both ninja and scientific research, a person's energy is limited. If you can make achievements in one field, then he is already an amazing genius. You are still young now, so it seems that you can take care of both at the same time, but as you grow older, you will find it more and more difficult. As your teacher, I have the responsibility to guide you correctly. What does the teacher mean by asking me to choose one and give up the other? Orochimaru understood the meaning of Sarutobi's words. This is just like choosing a major in modern times. When you have talents in both fields, it is easy to achieve results by focusing on one aspect. But if you want to take care of both, it is possible to lose both sides. Because human energy is limited, you cannot achieve results in two completely different fields. This is common sense. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded slightly. Well, your understanding is indeed very good. Gao, that's what the teacher means. Can't you choose both? Orochimaru asked tentatively. He knew that Hiruzen Sarutobi meant well, and the fact was just as he said. It is difficult for one person to balance the energy of two fields. Especially ninja and scientific research are two completely different concepts. That's even more troublesome. But what he doesn't know is that he has a system. More than 95% of the knowledge of each scientific research project is directly instilled into him by the system. He only needs to spend an hour or two to absorb this knowledge. Now, during the day, he didn't even have to think about scientific research, and he could still conduct normal experiments at night. So Sarutobi's worry was completely unnecessary. After hearing Orochimaru's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a moment, said with some worry, it's possible, but it's very risky. To be honest, Orochimaru is so talented, he really doesn't want Orochimaru to become useless like this. It's okay, teacher. Orochimaru said calmly, I have always focused on improving my own strength. Studying these is just a hobby. Industry, hobby. Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned for a moment, then twitched his lips. You are only 8 years old, and you can make such a powerful recovery potion as a hobby? How do you let the researchers at the top of Konoha live? Do you think they are shit-eaters? But Sarutobi is now the Hokage, so naturally he won't say such vulgar words. And thinking about it carefully, it seems so. Because after Orochimaru graduated, he always arrived on time for every gathering, training, and mission. And every time I complete the training mission, I do it very well. In other words, his ninja ability has not slackened at all. Did he really complete the recovery potion in his spare time? Oh my god! Thinking about this, Hiruzen Sarutobi should take a deep breath, and then praise this person. It's so terrifying. Well, now that you have decided, the teacher will support you no matter what. As he said that, Sarutobi knocked on his desk. Whoosh! An umbu wearing an animal mask appeared in front of the two of them. He also held a money box in his hand. The umbu handed the money box to the third Hokage, and then disappeared into the office without saying a word. Sarutobi Hiruzen pushed the money box on the table. Here are 2 million taels, although compared to the value of your scientific research results, it is a bit less. But take it first. If you need anything in the future, just tell the teacher. The teacher will try his best to satisfy you. Thank you, teacher. Orochimaru said without politeness at all. He did not refuse because he knew that this was what he deserved. And compared to the technology of genetic repair fluid, 2 million taels is really pitiful. Although there are too rare, the medicinal materials can only be sold in the system, but Orochimaru has already found a substitute. Although the effect after the experiment is not good, as long as this technology is announced, it will be enough to sell it for a sky-high price. Well, you go down, I will send someone to contact you later. Yes. Orochimaru took the money box, turned and left. After Orochimaru left, Danzo walked out of the lounge next to the office. Sarutobi, your disciple is very good, how about giving him to me? Hearing this, Sarutobi's expression changed. Danzo, you said you wanted to establish an independent Umbu training class. I agreed without saying a word, but this child is less than 9 years old. Umbu, don't they need to be trained from a young age? Moreover, this kid has the potential to become an Umbu. Danzo retorted. Umbu, because the missions they perform are more confidential, they require higher loyalty. If you start training them from a young age, they are more likely to be brainwashed, and your loyalty will be higher. In addition, you occasionally need to kill some irrelevant people in the missions. People, so Umbu need to have a certain dark side in their hearts. In both aspects, Orochimaru is very suitable. Hearing Danzo's words, Sarutobi was stunned for a moment, and then thought of the time when he fought against Kumo ninja. Orochimaru killed him. A cloud ninja who had no power to fight back suddenly had a slightly stern look in his eyes. Orochimaru is too young, so don't take any chances with him. Danzo established the root and wanted to inject fresh blood into the root. So, he noticed Orochimaru. Just like he noticed Kakashi later. Why would Danzo pay attention to them? Because Orochimaru and Kakashi have two things in common. Unparalleled ninja talent and darkness deep inside. In his mind, such talents should enter his department. If you don't become his subordinate, it will be a waste of resources. But now, because his root has just been established and is currently unstable, he can only obey the orders of the third Hokage. On the other hand, Orochimaru had already considered Danzo. Perhaps to other people, Danzo is an ambitious, selfish, and conceited person, and he will do whatever it takes to get the position of Hokage. It's a very dangerous boss. But for Orochimaru, Danzo is nothing to worry about. Why do you say that? Because in Orochimaru's heart, Danzo is actually very pathetic. He has great ambitions. He wants to be the Hokage and lead Konoha to dominate the ninja world, but he does not have the strength to match his ambitions. Not to mention leading Konoha to unify the ninja world, he has never even sat in the position of Hokage that was originally planned. He was pinned down by Sarutobi Hiruzen all his life, and he never got over until he died. A careerist who is not strong enough to support his own ambitions cannot make any waves at all. Whether it is the original Orochimaru or the current Orochimaru, he has never regarded Danzo as his opponent. At most, he regards him as a tool that can be used. Use his power, his selfishness, and his ambition to help him accomplish things that he can't usually accomplish. Hey, Orochimaru! Far away, Orochimaru heard that familiar voice. Looking up, sure enough, Jiraiya ran towards him with a whooshing sound. Oh, Orochimaru, what is that in your hand? Money box? Wow, how much is in it? Pack it in such a big box. 2 million taels. Scare? Jiraiya was stunned. Have you done an S-level mission? Roughly the same. Orochimaru replied casually. The banknotes in this world are 1,000 taels each. If you buy 2 million taels, this ordinary money box will just be filled. With an S-level mission, the maximum commission is 2 million taels. Therefore, there is nothing wrong with Jiraiya thinking so. Good, amazing. Hearing Orochimaru's admission, Jiraiya realized something and suddenly looked envious. This guy must have contributed the technology of the super recovery potion to the village. Otherwise, how could he, a genin, receive an S-level mission? How could it be possible to get so much commission? Let's go and treat you to barbecue. Orochimaru's words interrupted Jiraiya's thoughts. He was a little depressed, but he suddenly became energetic. Oh, are you serious? Although under normal circumstances, the money a genin earns is enough for a small family. But Jiraiya never knows what saving is. Therefore, a luxury item like barbecue is still very attractive to him, damn it. Orochimaru nodded slightly and took it as his own answer. 2 million taels is not a lot, but it is definitely a lot. So after you have money, you naturally have to plan. Orochimaru took the money to treat Tsunade and Jiraiya to a barbecue, and then bought a larger house. In Konoha village, houses are not valuable. A 3-story building covering an area of 150 square meters costs less than 1 million taels in total. The only troublesome thing is that to buy a house, you need to apply to the Hokage. Of course, given Orochimaru's current situation, Hiruzen Sarutobi has no reason to disagree. The next night, before Orochimaru started moving, several Anbu knocked on his door. Orochimaru opens the door. The person who came was an adult male, wearing a fox mask and a slight smile in his voice. Orochimaru, we meet again. Who are you, fox? Orochimaru's pupils narrowed, and he quickly recognized the identity of the person. After all, we had performed missions together before. The fox nodded slightly. It's me. Thank you for what happened before. There's nothing to be thankful for. Even without my potion, your injury can be cured. Orochimaru said and paused. Here you guys, what's up? Oh, that's it. The Hokage ordered me to take you to your workstation at the experimental base and help you move the experimental equipment. That's it. Orochimaru glanced at the 5 Anbu behind the fox and nodded slightly. Then come in and move. With Orochimaru's permission, the 5 Anbu filed in. Originally, the Anbu were a little surprised to see Orochimaru as a child, but now that they saw Orochimaru's laboratory, they were even more impressed. How could an 8 or 9-year-old kid have so many experimental equipment? But they are Anbu, and this mission is classified as confidential, so naturally they won't meddle in such nosy matters. Not talking nonsense, he took out his space scroll and started to help Orochimaru move things. The Anbu moved very quickly, and in less than an hour, all the experimental equipment in Orochimaru's house was wiped out. Then the fox led the way, Orochimaru followed closely behind him. Everyone jumped on the roof and soon arrived at Konoha's secret experimental base. Here is a building in the corner of Konoha village. The building is very spacious and there are 4 guards at the door. The fox stepped forward and exchanged commands with the guard, and then walked into the building with Orochimaru. The experimental base is in the basement of the building. It is brightly lit and there are even several staff members busy. The fox pointed at 2 of the clean and spacious laboratories and said, according to the arrangement above, these 2 laboratories are yours. The 2 rooms are very spacious, except for the necessary tables and chairs, there is nothing else. Just perfect for Orochimaru to put things in. Orochimaru was very satisfied with this, and ordered the Anbu to place the experimental equipment in the designated location and begin to become familiar with the environment. There are 8 or 9 rooms in the basement, but there are not many staff, only 4 or 5 people. Seeing that Orochimaru was still a little kid, they couldn't help but be stunned. It turns out that the person coming today is still a child? Simply incredible. Hey, kid, what's your name? One of the researchers raised his chin towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru. Orochimaru replied calmly. He didn't discuss academic ideas with these people, so his tone was relatively cold. Orochimaru? The researcher didn't care. It's okay, just take a look at it yourself. Good. Seeing that the other party seemed very busy, Orochimaru didn't bother him anymore. He just watched quietly from the side. These researchers seemed to be dissecting a corpse. Looking at the forehead protector taken off next to him, it should belong to Kumo Ninja. Orochimaru, after watching it for a while, I nodded secretly in my mind. Although these guys are just minor players, their skills are indeed good. Professional anatomy techniques without many years of clinical experience cannot achieve this level. Now I am making strengthening fluids and so on. He is very handy, but there are still only theories about anatomy and surgery. If you want to become a great scientist, you must learn to use a scalpel. Well. Thinking of this, Orochimaru immediately made a decision in his heart. He has so many high-tech products, you can gain absolute control over the experiment by showing your hands. Therefore, the production of potions can be temporarily stopped. Next, let's learn biological anatomy. With the goal and direction, Orochimaru was determined, and looked at after a few minutes, he turned around and left. A speechless night. Early the next morning, Orochimaru started moving. The experimental equipment in the old house is gone, so he only needs to take some important items and daily necessities to the new house. What surprised Orochimaru was that Tsunade and Jiraiya learned about his move when they had dinner together yesterday, and they actually came over to help him pack their things early this morning. Especially Jiraiya. She and Tsunade tortured him so much, and he still came to help her move her things? He is simply an unbeatable Xiaoqiang. Hey, Jiraiya, learn more from Orochimaru. Tsunade sat on the tatami next to her very rudely, like a big sister giving advice. Look at others, they can buy a new house by themselves at such a young age, and then look at you. How can this compare? Besides, if I can save so much money, can you be my girlfriend? Jiraiya said nonchalantly. This guy is not only thick-skinned, but he is also always straightforward in his speech. No matter what you say about me, I like beautiful girls anyway. I'm just a bitch. If you don't accept it, you'll bite me. When you hear that, Tsunade looked disdainful at Leia's words, be your girlfriend. Go ahead and dream. Isn't that enough? If you don't want to be my girlfriend, then why do you care so much about me? I only know Orochimaru all day long. Orochimaru is so annoying. Oh, you guy, how do you talk? How about it? Jiraiya smiled contemptuously and continued to seek death. Want to have a fight here? I won't be afraid of you, you unfeminine flat-chested woman. Accept, and I. Tsunade's face suddenly darkened, and she clenched her fists. Orochimaru. You don't want this house anymore, right? Well, this house is too old and too small. I will never come here again. That's good. A dark smile appeared on Tsunade's face, and at the same time she pinched her fingers and made a crackling sound. Haha, Jiraiya. What do you want to do? Jiraiya seemed to realize that something was wrong and swallowed his saliva. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he stepped back involuntarily. Go to hell. Phew. Tsunade's figure suddenly disappeared from the place, and reappeared in front of Jiraiya. Boom. Tsunade punched Jiraiya out of anger and instantly hit Jiraiya out, directly crashing through the wood of Orochimaru's house. Wall. There were screams coming from further and further away in the air. After knocking Jiraiya away, Tsunade clapped her hands casually and turned to look at Orochimaru. The original angry face turned into a smile. Sorry, I'm so sorry, I broke your house to pieces. But since you don't want it anyway, you don't have to pay for it, right? Orochimaru looked at Tsunade's face-changing smile, and then looked at the big hole Jiraiya made on the wooden wall. He couldn't help but mourn for 3 seconds for Jiraiya. But if you think about it carefully, Jiraiya deserves it. You know that Tsunade is very violent, but you still mess with her all the time? Forget it once or twice, how many times has this happened? It's really just seeking death. I don't know how long it took, Orochimaru's things were almost packed, and Jiraiya came back from the big hole with a big bag on his head. Hateful, Orochimaru, you are not kind at all, why not stop that woman? Jiraiya covered the bag on his head and yelled in grievance. Just now, he only relied on the fact that this was Orochimaru's territory, so he had the confidence to provoke Tsunade. Because he knew that Tsunade liked Orochimaru, and she would generally not use violence in Orochimaru's house. But Orochimaru was very cooperative and said that he didn't want this house anymore. She used the teleportation technique, Orochimaru said casually. His meaning was obvious. Tsunade used the teleportation technique and he had no time to stop it. But will Jiraiya believe it? I definitely won't believe it. What? Your teleportation technique is obviously faster than hers, you did it on purpose. It was intentional, so what? Tsunade casually interjected. Orochimaru is my boyfriend now. If he doesn't help me, will he help you, a pervert? Male, boyfriend? Jiraiya was stunned. Did these two guys confirm their relationship? When did it happen? Why didn't he know? Why did he suddenly feel like crying? A series of questions instantly appeared in Jiraiya's mind. Tsunade's direct, Orochimaru was also stunned. When had he promised? Thinking of this, he subconsciously glanced at Tsunade's expression. Well, judging from the look of this girl, she was just trying to hurt Jiraiya. It's just that this discerning person can't. Jiraiya couldn't tell the lie, and he became extremely depressed. Shaking his head and ignoring the two of them, Orochimaru packed up the things he had packed and walked slowly towards his new home. See you there. Orochimaru left, and Tsunade and Jiraiya quickly followed. Orochimaru's new home is in the northwest corner of Konoha village. Not far from the Hyuga clan. It's a big house. Looking at the bustling street in front of him, Orochimaru grew take a breath. Ease. When the three of them passed by the Hyuga clan, Orochimaru's eyes were attracted by two little kids. They looked exactly the same and were learning to walk in crotchless pants. When he saw the Taiki clan emblem on the door behind them, Orochimaru, I have to lament my fate. It has been almost 3 years since they came to this world. The two brothers Hyuga Hisashi and Hyuga Hisashi of the Hyuga clan are only 1 year old now? Do you want to witness the growth of these strong men? Uchiha Fugaku is 4 years old now. The two brothers Hinata and Hinata are only 1 year old. In Kakashi and Metkai's generation, many people's fathers are younger than themselves. It's really impossible to find any fun. Will life be like this? The supplies were moved to the 3rd floor and Jiraiya and Tsunade also stayed to help Orochimaru organize his new home. Although Tsunade doesn't usually do these housework, she is a ninja after all. Her self-care ability is certainly not comparable to that of ordinary little kids. And Jiraiya? Well, although this guy was abused by the two of them in every aspect, he was better because he was thick-skinned, and he still had a forest living in his heart. Naturally, he would not hang himself on a tree like Tsunade. He has already regarded Orochimaru as his competitor, and defeating Orochimaru has become his obsession. Therefore, he will not care about these small things with the two of them. On this day, the three of them were helping Orochimaru organize spending time in the new home. At night, Jiraiya and Tsunade left. Orochimaru looked at the spacious and bright new home, and his whole heart felt relaxed. He stretched his body, came to the large mirror of the new home, and looked at seeing his long flowing hair and fair skin in the mirror, the corner of Orochimaru's mouth curled up. As expected of the Sharingan, with his current physical condition, he can only withstand 3 Megatama at most. He in the mirror was no different from him outside the mirror. But soon, Orochimaru's golden vertical pupils in the mirror began to change color. The golden pupils gradually darkened, and finally turned into a strange scarlet red. 3 people as black as ink, something like a comma, evenly distributed around the scarlet pupils. Orochimaru took a deep breath, and then closed his eyes. When his eyes opened again, the scarlet pupils had disappeared, replaced by him originally golden vertical pupils. If other ninjas saw this scene, they would definitely be extremely surprised. Because no one would have thought that a child from an ordinary ninja family could actually awaken the Sharingan, the limit of blood inheritance of the Uchiha clan. Sharingan? Yes, Sharingan. This is the power of the Uchiha clan that was fused when Orochimaru was studying the gene fusion fluid. It is made by extracting the genes of several Uchiha eye-opening clan members. No need to transplant cells, it can be awakened and used directly without the stimulation of mental power, and it is still a 3 Magatama. This is incredible for the entire ninja world. But now, Orochimaru did it easily. According to Orochimaru's research, the reason why Uchiha people are so warlike and arrogant is because their genes contain a special power. This special power will be stimulated by the stimulation of the host's own spiritual power, thus forming the representative of spiritual power, Sharingan. And because the mental power of the Sharingan is so huge, even the current Uchiha clan's body cannot bear it. Therefore, as long as their tribesmen are stimulated by words or external stimulation, they will easily develop mental problems. It ranges from being bellicose and arrogant at worst to falling into madness. Because their bodies are not strong enough to suppress the power of the Sharingan, they can easily break down and do some irrational things. This may be why the second Hokage called them the evil clan. Of course, Orochimaru, who knew the plot, knew very well that the power of their Sharingan belonged to the divine fruit. According to legend, the sacred tree is the Ten Tails, and the Ten Tails is evil. Kaguya ate the sacred fruit from the sacred tree, so her temperament changed drastically. But the power of the divine fruit was integrated into her body and passed on to her descendants. According to Orochimaru's analysis, Kaguya has three powers, one is his own, one is from the sacred tree, and the other is from the sacred fruit. His own is the Byakugan, while the divine trees is the body of a sage, and the divine fruits is the 9 Megatama reincarnation Sharingan. Originally, the three powers were combined into one, but Kaguya's bloodline was passed down from generation to generation, and the genes gradually became separated. Let's not talk about Kaguya's own Byakugan inheritance for now. Here we mainly talk about the power of divine trees and divine fruits. If the sacred tree is the Ten Tails, the source of chakra, then the sacred fruit is the root of the Sharingan and the Rinnegan. Both have huge amounts of chakra, but the sacred tree mainly represents body energy. The divine fruit mainly represents spiritual energy. Hamura inherited Kaguya's Byakugan. Hagoromo, the sage of 6 paths, not only inherited the eye power, but also inherited the body of a sage. It's just that his power, starting from his descendants Asura and Indra, was divided into two again. Asura inherits the physique, and Indra inherits the eye power. Because physical energy only makes the body stronger and has little impact on people's thinking, the Asura lineage who inherit the physical gene are not affected by mental power. Such people have normal thinking and tend to be kind in all aspects of their character. As for those who inherit eye power, because their mental power is too great, it is easy for people to have ideological problems and become very advocating for power. If you are slightly unsatisfied, you will become very extreme. Just like Indra who killed his tribe for no reason, Uchiha Madara who wanted to create infinite Tsukuyomi after the death of his younger brother, and Uchiha Obito who didn't hesitate to make an enemy of the whole world after the death of his childhood sweetheart, after learning what happened to his brother, Uchiha Sasuke who wants to destroy Konoha and so on. The topic is a bit far-fetched, I have said so much just to illustrate one point. The pupil power attached to the divine fruit, whether it is the Rinnegan or the Sharingan, is very powerful mentally. You must have a strong enough body to be able to suppress the mental power attached to it, otherwise the huge mental power will easily overwhelm you. People lose their minds. Even if there are only 3 Megatama eyes, it is enough to change the character of an Uchiha. Based on Orochimaru's current physique after using the intermediate strengthening liquid. Well, 3 Megatama is already the limit. In fact, after the 6 path sage, the generation of Asura and Indra, although their physiques and eye powers have been separated, their physical energy and mental energy are actually not much different. Indra does not have the body of an immortal, but his physique is still strong and the amount of chakra is still astonishing. Asura has no pupil power, but his mental power is still good. The intensity of his mental power can even directly condense the jade of seeking Dao. It's just that the bloodline gradually faded, allowing their descendants, the Senju and Uchiha races, to develop into two extremes. Only the human body of an immortal is left. One only has pupil power left. And both require awakening to use. The most important thing is that many people in their bloodline have lost the qualifications to awaken the sage body or the Sharingan. What Orochimaru has to do is to collect the genes of the people who are qualified to awaken the Sharingan and use them to enhance his eye power. Some of these people have awakened the Sharingan, and some have not yet awakened the Sharingan. But that doesn't matter. As long as his genes contain this power, it will be enough for Orochimaru to use it. The more Sharinon genes collected, the stronger the pupil power obtained by fusing them together after purification and tempering. As long as the Sharinon gene, spiritual power, is enough, turning on the kaleidoscope is only a matter of minutes. Based on the Uchiha family genes he had collected at Konoha Hospital in the past 2 years, it was more than enough to open the 3 Megatama, but the kaleidoscope was still far behind. After all, there are only a few blood samples of Uchiha people in the hospital. Most of the Uchihas who had their eyes opened did not store their blood in the hospital. What's more, Orochimaru's current physical strength is not strong enough to withstand the power of the Mangekyo Sharinon. Now Orochimaru, even if he collects enough Sharinon genes and wants to forcibly fuse the Mangekyo, he may not go crazy, but his spirit will definitely be affected. When using the kaleidoscope skill, the physical load will definitely be overloaded. Myopia, eye bleeding, and body pain are all side effects of overloading the body. At this point, some people may ask, as long as the body is strong enough, does using the Mangekyo Sharinon have no side effects? The answer is yes. Just like the original Uchiha Obito. After transplanting the cells of the first-generation Hokage, White Zetsu, I can use kaleidoscope and other things casually. Not to mention my eyes bleeding, my whole body hurts, and even the most basic myopia does not appear. Orochimaru estimated that after using the advanced genetic enhancement fluid, he would be able to use the Mangekyo Sharinon at will. If you fuse the cells of the first-generation Hokage, you can use even the Samsara Eye. Yes, in Orochimaru's mind, the Rinnegan is more advanced than the Mangekyo Sharinon, and it's more than 1 level higher. You know, Obito in the original work, even if he has the cells of the first-generation Hokage, it is a bit difficult to transplant a reincarnation eye. Want to use a pair of Samsara eyes? At least it needs to be of the physique of the Uzumaki or Senju clan. Just transplanting cells is simply not enough. What? Uchiha Madara doesn't have the physique of Uzumaki and Senju, so why can he use a pair of Samsara eyes? Because he is the reincarnation of Indra Chakra and has the power of a direct relative of the 6 Paths Immortals, this is different. Forget it, it's useless to think about it now. After coming into contact with the cells of the first-generation Hokage, everything will be clear. After figuring this out, Orochimaru stopped thinking, closed his eyes, and quickly fell asleep. The First Ninja World War was officially declared over due to the death of the second-generation shadows of Konoha village and Kumagakure village, and the rise of the third-generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Because the person who killed the second Hokage was Ginkgo who initiated the coup and had nothing to do with the Kingdom of Thunder, the peace-loving Konoha village did not pursue the matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen became the Hokage, and Danzo established his roots. Konoha has entered a formal development period. Early 20th year in Konoha. It has been 4 months since Orochimaru moved into his new home. In other words, it has been 3 years since Orochimaru came to this world. It's another gorgeous and colorful morning. The morning light slowly opens the curtain, bringing freshness to the world. Konoha village, Hokage's office. The third Hokage was sitting at his desk, holding his chin with his hands, looking at Orochimaru and the other 3 standing in front, lost in thought. He is the teacher of the 3 of them, and he should have tried his best to teach his students, but now he is also the Hokage. As the third Hokage of Konoha village, Hiruzen Sarutobi naturally cannot be like other teachers, running around with his students anytime, anywhere, completing tasks and teaching them. In terms of teaching students, Hiruzen Sarutobi will naturally do his best. Even as disciples of Hiruzen Sarutobi, they can get training resources that other civilian ninjas do not have. But it's naturally impossible to take them with me when doing tasks or something. Have you ever seen the Hokage running around with his disciples during non-war times? Therefore, he called the 3 of them here today just to discuss future mission issues. Among the 3, Jiraiya is a bit careless and will do something outrageous if he is not careful. Tsunade's temper is easily irritable, and she can easily get upset when unexpected situations arise. Only Orochimaru is calm and collected. Thinking of this, the third Hokage slowly spoke. Orochimaru, from today on, you are the captain of your team. Well. What? Tsunade was stunned, but Jiraiya exclaimed. Why? Why is Orochimaru the captain? I can do it too. I believe that my handsome Jiraiya-sama is absolutely qualified to be the leader of this team. Hearing Jiraiya's words, the third Hokage still spoke, but Tsunade next to him looked contemptuous. Jiraiya, don't you have any idea of your own strength? Tsunade came back to her senses and struck mercilessly. What do you think is better than Orochimaru in you? Is it strength? Is it resilience? Or judgment? Oh, by the way, Orochimaru can't compare to you when it comes to lust. Hateful, Tsunade, stop looking down on others. Is not it? Big pervert. The two of them were talking and going to have sex again. Okay, don't argue. The third Hokage stopped him in time. Among the three of you, Orochimaru is indeed the most suitable person to be the captain. From today on, the future tasks will be decided by... Tuk tuk tuk. Before the third Hokage could finish speaking, there was a knock on the office door. Come in. Hokage-sama, the experiment was successful, ha ha ha. A middle-aged man wearing glasses and a white coat ran in excitedly from outside the office. The moment he saw Orochimaru, he couldn't help but froze. Alas, the teacher is here too? Ha? Teacher. Hearing the white coat's name for Orochimaru, Jiraiya and Tsunade were stunned at the same time. He actually called Orochimaru-sensei? This is, what the hell? Orochimaru looked calm. Don't worry about me, you are busy with your business. Yes. The white coat nodded shamefully, and then said to the Hokage, Lord Hokage, the experiment on the recovery potion was successful. Success? The third Hokage's eyes were slightly stern. Are you saying that the recovery potion was successful? Yes, Hokage-sama. Talk about it in detail. Based on the information given by Mr. Orochimaru, I thought about it, and then 3 months ago. The man in the white coat was talking about the experimental process during this period with great excitement. He is a medical ninja from Konoha Hospital named Harano. He has rich medical expertise. After receiving the order from above, he has been following Orochimaru to learn the production of gene repair solution. During the production process, Orochimaru's talent and unique insights into genetic knowledge impressed him greatly. Sometimes just a few clicks can make him feel enlightened. Therefore, he couldn't hold back and became Orochimaru as his disciple. Although it may sound unbelievable for a middle-aged man in his 40s to become a disciple of a kid who is less than 10 years old, but this is the fact. Orochimaru pretended to study with him for a while, and then gave him the formula and production process of the genetic repair solution that he had already modified. So Yuanya began to study it by himself. Only when he encountered something he really didn't understand, he would ask Orochimaru for advice. Finally, after 3 months, this repair solution was finally developed. Although it is a substitute, the resilience is a little worse, but the difference is not too much. After listening to Yuanyi's story, the third Hokage couldn't help but nodded. How much does it cost to make a recovery potion now? That, it takes about 50,000 taels. This thing is just like a smart chip. The most expensive thing is the technology, not the raw materials. 50,000 taels. The third Hokage was stunned for a moment, then nodded. It is indeed much more expensive than ordinary wound medicine of several hundred taels, but it is worth every penny. Make a batch for later use. Yes. That, I'll go down first. Go for it. The third Hokage waved his hand. The white coat nodded, then glanced at Orochimaru before turning and leaving. It wasn't until he walked away that Tsunade and Jiraiya reacted, looking at Orochimaru next to them in shock. Although it was only for a moment, although he was able to improve the medicine, he could still achieve such good results after improving the medicine. Such scientific research talent is a bit exaggerated. The most important thing is that he can be someone else's teacher at the age of 10. Until the three of them left the Hokage's office, Tsuna both Hand and Jiraiya haven't come back to their senses yet. At this time, they only have one thought in their minds: this damn boy is also a little brat, why is there such a big gap? Especially Jiraiya, his inferiority complex is so high. It seems that no matter what field he is in, he is not Orochimaru's opponent. Thinking of this, Jiraiya subconsciously looked at Orochimaru next to him. At this moment, Orochimaru behind his head, there seemed to be something like the sun, emitting dazzling light, which made him unable to open his eyes. At night, after Orochimaru finished the experiment, he returned to his residence alone. Thinking about the steps of cell transplantation in my mind. Cell transplantation is more complicated than imagined. Because it not only includes cell culture, but also requires living organisms as experimental subjects. Cell cultivation takes a long time, and Orochimaru can't experiment with living people now. Therefore, Orochimaru's experimental subjects are currently limited to mice, and they are still in the cell culture stage. Because of this, the scientific research projects given by the system have not made any substantial progress. Tuk tuk tuk. There was a sudden knock on the door. Orochimaru frowned, but still got up and opened the door. This is Konoha, and there can be no enemies for him. He frowned but was a little confused about who would come to find him at this point. The door opened, and there was an Umbu standing at the door. Judging from his height and body shape, I probably don't recognize him. Orochimaru, someone wants to see you. Umbu's voice was low and he got straight to the point. After hearing such straightforward words from Umbu, Orochimaru immediately turned to Danzo. But thinking about it carefully, it was impossible. Danzo had just established the root department not long ago, and he didn't even have the foundation yet. Steady, he didn't reveal the scientific research technology that would be useful to him, so he probably wouldn't come looking for him. Who wants to see me? Orochimaru still asked subconsciously. Because from the tone of the Umbu, it didn't sound like the third Hokage. Hearing this, the Umbu hesitated for a moment. Please forgive me for not being able to tell you. You will know after you go. Hearing this, Orochimaru was surprised. You can hire Umbu, but you can't reveal your identity? Is there any hidden big boss in Konoha besides Sarutobi and Danzo? Is that so? Then let's go. With such doubts, Orochimaru followed the Umbu out. In Konoha, he is not afraid of anyone trying to harm him. Because he is very important to Konoha now, and the slightest disturbance will cause a series of chain reactions in Konoha. Ordinary people simply cannot bear this responsibility. Of course, having said that, Orochimaru should still be vigilant. Following the Umbu all the way, the two of them quickly reached their destination. This is a mansion, similar to Konoha's. The secret experimental base is similar, but the area is smaller. 6 people. What? Umbu didn't seem to hear Orochimaru's murmur clearly. Without, nothing. Orochimaru said calmly. The calmness was only on the surface, but he couldn't help but be surprised in his heart. This house seemed ordinary, but there were 6 Umbu hidden in invisible places around it. Then who lived here? Orochimaru squinted his eyes and used his perception ability to sense. Does the person inside have a huge amount of chakra? Huge amount of chakra? Could it be her? Perception is an ability that Orochimaru only started to study. It uses the characteristics of snakes to sense the surrounding chakra. Although the range is not comparable to the chakra perception of the original Xiang Phosphorus, the accuracy is still not bad. Therefore, Orochimaru could sense the people in the hut and quickly guessed their identity. Sure enough, Umbu opened the door. A middle-aged woman wearing a white kimono and a double bun appeared in Orochimaru's sight. She is said to be middle-aged, but she actually looks a little old. The face bears traces of countless years. Orochimaru entered the room at the signal of the Umbu. The Umbu didn't say anything, but slowly backed out and closed the door. In the room, Orochimaru immediately confirmed his judgment when he saw the Senju clan's emblem embroidered on the woman's white robe and her very eye-catching fiery red hair. Do you want to see me? Yes. You are? Orochimaru still cautiously showed a hint of doubt. Although he already knew the woman's identity. Uzumaki Mito. The middle-aged woman calmly uttered a few words. Uzumaki Mito, the name only has 4 words. But the weight of these words, as long as they are spoken, even Sarutobi Hiruzen must be respectful. No wonder this person has so much power. No wonder there are so many hidden umbu around. It turns out that she is Uzumaki Mito? Uzumaki Mito, the current 9-tailed Jinhyuriki, the wife of the god of ninja world, Senjo Hashirama, and the real power of the Senjo clan at present man. Any one of these 3 identities would be enough to shock the ninja world. Seeing Uzumaki Mito, Orochimaru was a little surprised, but the due etiquette was indispensable. He straightened his robe a little. It turns out to be Mito-sama. Orochimaru is rude. Well, nice kid. Uzumaki Mito has a different identity from her. He feels very gentle. Just a casual smile gives people a feeling of spring breeze. Affinity, some people are born with this power. Uzumaki Mito is like this. Sit down. Uzumaki Mito smiled and pointed to the seat next to him. Orochimaru nodded, and sat on the stool next to him with some confusion, secretly guessing the other party's intention to come to him. The wife of the first Hokage, a person like this in Konoha village. It has been a long time, but I have never seen someone. What is she looking for? Could it be that she is looking for him? Is she doing it for Tsunade? In addition to being Senjo Hashirama's wife, Uzumaki Mito is also Tsunade's grandmother. So, if she is here for Tsunade, it seems to make sense. But when it comes to Tsunade, it shouldn't be her turn to take action, right? I heard that you developed that powerful restorative potion. Uzumaki Mito suddenly said this, interrupting Orochimaru's thoughts. Orochimaru came back to his senses and nodded slightly. Yes, Mito-sama. Haha, you don't have to be formal, you are in the same class as Tsunade, just like her, call me Grandma Mito. Yes, Mito, grandmother. Orochimaru struggled in his heart for a long time, and finally he came up with this title. He has never seen what a grandma looks like in his 2 lives, and he is really resisting when he is suddenly asked to recognize her as a grandma. Uzumaki Mito smiled kindly. Orochimaru, you are a good kid. You have no family heritage, but you can become Sarutobi's disciple with your own talent. I'm very optimistic about your future. Orochimaru didn't speak, because he knew that Uzumaki Mito had more to come. Sure enough, Uzumaki Mito just paused, and then continued. Tsunade often mentioned you in front of me, saying how good your talent and strength are. You are so strong, haha, when I saw you today, you are even stronger than the rumors said. Are you curious, what do I want from you? Very curious indeed. That's right, everyone would be curious if I called you here out of nowhere. Uzumaki Mito smiled self-deprecatingly. Haha, I'm a bit nagging as I get older, so don't mind it. No. In fact, I called you here today for no other reason than to hear your views on the future. A vision for the future? Orochimaru's heart moved. What do you mean? Is it that you have any ideals or dream? Uzumaki Mito said slowly. There was nothing strange about her expression. After saying this, she straightened her robe and looked at Orochimaru with a smile. Dream? Hearing this, Orochimaru's eyes narrowed slightly. After thinking for a moment, he slowly said, I wonder if bringing peace to the ninja world counts. Peace in the ninja world? Uzumaki Mito was a little surprised, but he continued to speak. Haha, this dream is really not small. Then you, what are you going to do? This, I haven't thought about it yet. Orochimaru lied calmly. However, I will work hard in this regard. Orochimaru didn't know why Uzumaki Mito suddenly asked this question, but he subconsciously felt that he should be more cautious. In fact, deep down in his heart, he had already made a plan. The unified theory he told Tsunade before, it's definitely not just talk. As a time traveler who came from a peaceful era, Orochimaru naturally doesn't like war. In war years, fighting is going on, and life will be in danger if you don't pay attention. What's the meaning of this era? The pleasure gained from killing is often not as refreshing as the enjoyment in peaceful times. In peaceful times, as long as you have a little power or money, your life can be interesting and colorful. However, this world is a world of war. Orochimaru has no choice. The only thing he can do is to become stronger, and then do whatever he wants. And unifying the ninja world is one of the few things he wants to do. Through the deterrence of force, all countries will be forced to compromise, thereby creating a peaceful and prosperous age. It sounds a bit fanciful, but Orochimaru really thinks so. And in the original work, there are 3 other people who obviously think so too. The first one is Danzo. It's just that his strength cannot support his ambition, so let alone success or failure, he hasn't even started a plan. The second one is Nagato, or Pain. He also had the same idea, to capture the tailed beasts and create the ultimate weapon, the 10 tails, to shock the 5 great nations, and he almost succeeded. It's just that his strength is still not enough, and he was finally defeated by the protagonist's halo and mouth escape. The third one is Kaguya. Not only did she think so, but she also did it, and even did it in the end. If it weren't for the fact that she was discovered by 2 traitors when she used humans to worship the sacred tree, I'm afraid the ninja world would still be under her rule. There is no way a war will break out. In the past, Orochimaru was just an ordinary person on Earth, so he had no choice. You can only live a life of mediocrity and let others bully you. But now, he is Orochimaru, he has a system, so he has ambition. He wants to be the ruler of this world. Just like the ancestral dragon in memory. Unify the entire ninja world. The only difference is, Zolong's lifespan is limited, so although he achieved unification, after his death, the world was once again in flames of war, and all life was in ruins. But now, he is Orochimaru, and as long as he can research the immortal reincarnation, his lifespan will be unlimited. Not to mention the capabilities that come with the system. So he has the time and capital. Of course, these things are still relatively far away, and it is impossible for him to tell these things to Uzumaki Mito, or even to anyone. I mentioned it to Tsunade before, but it was just a whim. Uzumaki Mito heard Orochimaru's words and nodded with a smile. Well, not only is he talented, but he also knows how to work hard. He is a good boy. Haha, that girl Tsunade was right. Tsunade. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. Did Tsunade really say something to her? It seems that the butterfly effect is working. Because he remembered that Tsunade in the original book only had a good impression of Orochimaru, but she was far from telling her. Parents are at this level. But now, Uzumaki Mito looked at Orochimaru and seemed to be getting more and more satisfied. He took Orochimaru and chatted for another 10 minutes. In the end, because it was too late, it was not appropriate to say too much, so Orochimaru was asked to go back. Watching Orochimaru leave, Uzumaki Mito nodded slightly with talent, courage, and determination. Orochimaru, you will become a good ninja. Uzumaki Mito murmured to himself. As everyone knows, this time, even she looked away. It is said that Uzumaki Mito can sense the good and evil of people, so he should be able to sense whether others are lying, just like the original work. Under the moonlight, Orochimaru was thinking about the scene just now. Uzumaki Mito should not have used his perception ability to detect himself just now. Because to perceive good and evil, you need to turn on the Nine Tails mode. And to perceive lies, you also need to concentrate. Done. Uzumaki Mito was in neither of these 2 states just now. Therefore, she should not have noticed anything unusual about herself. Thinking of this, Orochimaru nodded slightly. It seems that she did not expect that a person less than 10 years old, a little kid, how dare you lie in front of her. On the surface, the abilities of a ninja are divided into 3 types, ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu. But in terms of strength, only the 8-gate Dunjia can see the physical skills. The others are not worth mentioning at all. The really powerful ones are those magical arts, forbidden arts, and the abilities that come with blood, strength, speed, and the power of ninjutsu. Back at his home, Orochimaru was lying on his bed, his mind spinning rapidly. He was a little surprised by Uzumaki Mito's interview, but it had no impact on his life. So, for him now, the most important thing is to improve his strength. His strength is not weak now, but it is obviously not enough. I am still half a scientist, so naturally I cannot take the strength route, so strength abilities and 8-gate Dunjia will not be considered. In terms of speed, what are the fastest techniques? Flying Thunder God? 8 gates Dunjia. The Thunder Escape Armor of Yunren Village. Thunder Dun Armor, like the 8-door Dun Armor, requires a strong body to support it, so it will not be considered. Then only the space-type Flying Thunder God is left? Well, this ability is very good. Space jump, long-distance teleportation, they are all magical techniques for escaping and fighting enemies. Think about the heroic appearance of the 4th Hokage who used this technique to become famous in the 3rd battle. It can be said to be a must-have magical technique for time travelers. However, Orochimaru in the original work of this technique should have read it, but in the end he didn't. You know why you haven't learned it? Then can you learn it? Of course, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the art of Flying Thunder God is now in the Book of Seals, and it is an imperfect one. The Book of Seals records the forbidden art. Book? Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. It seems that the sealed book contains the dirt reincarnation that he needs. Although according to memory, these 2 techniques are not perfect yet, but he can use them to study. The only the difficulty is that now that the 2nd Hokage is dead, with the style of the 3rd Hokage, he will definitely not let himself see it. After all, these are all forbidden techniques. So, what should I do? After thinking for a moment, Orochimaru was very confused. The answer is almost there. It seems that the only way to start is from Danzo and let Danzo show it to him. It seems that Orochimaru in the original work had the opportunity to see these 2 techniques after colluding with Danzo. Then there is nothing wrong with following his old path. Well, the more I think about it, the more right I am. Find an opportunity to fool Danzo. Hidden. As long as you gain his trust, isn't it easy to read the sealed book? By then, not only the sealed book, but even the cells of the 1st Hokage will be available for use. Thinking of this, Orochimaru nodded with satisfaction.